Hello there, gamers, gamettes, and everyone between. It's your boy Kaiserenth, and you already know what we're here to do because, yes, it's time for the 56th episode of the CLOUT.WAV podcast. Hashtag ride the wave. But you already know we took a couple of weeks off, partially because, let's be honest, we were still lagging from Thanksgiving and various things that are COVID related happened. And let's face it, folks, we got real busy and then, blah, blah, blah. Some things happened. But let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. There's a Spider-Man movie that came out, and we do need to discuss it. But before we get to me, Peter Parker, and Peter Parker, we still have to talk about this man on the left portion of your screen. We still got to talk about the young goat, the lion who's making waves in content creation. I see you out there, man. You're on the grind, so to speak. But Subtle Fraudulence, how you doing, man? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Busy preparing things to put out for the 23 people who keep track of my content. You know what I'm saying? Just gotta give them a little something to wet their whistles a little bit and make sure that they're satisfied, because it's really all about the fans. No matter how many you have, it's really all about the fans. The rest will come. The rest will come if you're the chosen one. Everything else will come.
The chosen one. I mean, now you over here making it seem like it's all about destiny and fate. And trust me,
hey, bro,
I have long since given up on destiny and fate. Let me tell you that right now. Those are not my best friends. I'm gonna tell you that.
Look, man, if certain content creators can get fucking banned on Twitch for X amount of time just for saying a word that's a word that you can actually say, then you got to be the chosen one of the moment, not the chosen one of forever.
No, I understand, but Tricky Gesture with the 34-month resub, my God, man, that's almost 3 whole years. You sure you want to do that? So that's a lot of risk. We appreciate the love there, my fella. We appreciate that. Salutes to you. But before we get into No Way Home, we do have a few topics that we need to discuss. The first of which being, well, the Game Awards, because we didn't talk about that when the Game Awards actually happened. Not because we didn't care about the Game Awards, but because me, didn't care about the Game Awards. Mainly because, let's be honest, the only thing that matters about the Game Awards are the reveals. Like, no one cares about the reviews. No one cares about the fact that they're going to vote for whoever they're going to vote for. Because, as you all know, and they do disclose this information, you can look this up, the fan vote only accumulates to a very small lump sum of 10% of the deciding vote. Which basically means us as fans, no matter how much of a landslide victory we believe that one game should win, whatever category is up for grabs, at best, every single fan on the planet could vote for one game, and the only thing our vote really amounts to is breaking a tiebreaker. If the rest of that panel, who's in that undisclosed back room, decides that this game is winning, it don't matter what we say. It does not. There is no fan's choice, player's choice. Don't matter. The whole enchilada is going to whatever that room of panelists and journalists would say wins that game. So I don't really care about the awards themselves. Kind of irrelevant. And I think it's kind of like watching a Jake Paul fight. Like, y'all watch it because y'all have like some hope, some delusions of grandeur that somebody's going to fumble the bag and it's going to be monumental. And then it's really just the same old. Like, we know what time it is. But for those of you who don't know, there was a best VR and AR game, virtual and augmented reality game, and seeing Resident Evil 4 win something in 2021, it's not necessarily a head scratcher. It's just, there's 3 games that you can't escape. Like, it's Skyrim, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Resident Evil 4. You're not, like, those games are, like, they're the new generation of timeless classics. There is no escape. They're here forever. You're stuck with them. It's GG's,
honestly,
no
yeah.
worry. Like, they are literally injected into the DNA infrastructure of what we call the gaming industry. And pretty much every game that exists is going to try to be like them. They want to be that game that they could sell over and over and over again on the PS7, on your LED toaster. They even want you to play it on your refrigerator doors for those of you who got smart fridges. Like, they want these games everywhere. Unfortunately, they just haven't found a way to do it to Fortnite yet, but believe me when I tell you, the time's coming.
Oh no, not not that. But I mean, RE4 is actually, surprisingly, it's the game title that you may not know is actually in that same bracket, because RE4 has been re-released several times, and then it got a VR version that won an award. So yeah, and on top of that, the rumor mill says that we're getting RE4 remake, so we're gonna get another version of RE4 coming out, which may also get ported to other consoles. So
But here's the
I don't
thing.
know.
Like, here's the thing. We've seen how they've taken remakes, and especially with Resident Evil, and they kind of try to flip it on its head. They try to go in a different direction. They try to pull things. So, do you think this Resident Evil 4 is going to be more akin to Resident Evil 2? Or do you think this is going to be kind of like how when they did the Resident Evil 0 stuff back on the Cube? Like, do you think they're going to, like, just make Resident Evil 4 more Resident Evil 4? Or do you think it's going to be Resident Evil 4 story, but story alone? Everything else is going to be the modernized, conventional Resident Evil gameplay that we've gotten with 7 and 8. Maybe not necessarily, the exact same way. But could you imagine if Resident Evil 4 became first person? That would be
Yeah, honestly,
that would be interesting. I probably wouldn't like it, especially with the overabundance of QuickTime events that Resident Evil 4 had. Actually, will they even have QuickTime events? Because technically it's not a big thing as it used to be.
Exactly. So they're probably going to take that out. It's probably going to be more of the RE4 in story alone, and then everything else is going to be very different. Maybe a few things will stay the same. Maybe it'll still be third person. Maybe you'll still have some of the same like actions that you did in previous games, but you definitely won't have quick time events, because those are pretty played out. And
Here's
yeah,
the
I don't
thing.
see anyone liking it, and like casuals don't care, because they don't really have that kind of love with quick time events, anyways.
And like, I do feel like the QuickTime events are kind of Resident Evil 4's charm. Like, I feel like a lot of the charm will be kind of lost because, I mean, let's face it. While it may not have made sense for some of the QuickTime events, you gotta admit, getting in a knife fight, getting behind someone, German suplex, pfft, hitting somebody with a crazy counter, like, the Leon game was kind of wild. But there is one thing that I am worried about how they're going to handle it. Because let's face it, folks, we all know escort missions were not fun in any gaming era. But we know, especially now, with some of the modern conventions that we can throw into video games to make things a little bit more challenging, I'm not looking forward to escorting Ashley. I'll tell you that right now.
What
It's
if
not
they even
something
take away that system altogether? Like every time you get into like some sort of like a battle situation and Ashley's supposed to be there, she just automatically like teleports into a trash
unloads.
can or something. Yeah. She like despawns every time. It's like enemies are here and Ashley just disappears. It's like, Ashley, where are you at? And at the end of the battle, she just comes through. I'm here, Leon.
And that's like, nah, man, if you just teleporting like that, you are the bioweapon. And second of all, if you could just teleport like that when there's danger around, how did you get captured in the first place? That would, I'm not gonna lie, that would kind of tilt me. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'd be very upset, very disgruntled. I may even want to fight her myself.
It'll still be better than the Resident Evil movie that tried to put all the first three
Oh
games
my
together.
God, no.
So, yeah.
See, when I saw the trailer, I was like, at first, when I first saw the trailer for that movie, I genuinely thought that it wasn't a movie. I thought this was like a TV series. So it's going to progress, like maybe 6 episodes to one game, 6 episodes to another game, 6 episodes to the third game. That's what I thought they were going to do, especially since, 2 and 3 kind of happened somewhat in quick succession. So I was like, okay, kind of makes sense. I can see this. Then I found out, no, this is a movie and all this hodgepodge stuff is happening concurrently at all times. And it's like, don't get me wrong, the whole mansion incident, Resident Evil 2 and 3, don't get me wrong, the timeline is pretty tight. It's not like it was like several months happened between these 2 events, all right, guys? Like, I honestly think this all happened within like 16 days? Something like that. It's pretty tight. So it being in a movie isn't necessarily the worst thing, but when you divide 3, if you talk about the originals, 6 to 9 hour games on your first playthrough, and you compress all that information and give them like 35 minutes apiece, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When I found out the actor who was playing Leon, like, had you not told, I thought he was Carlos. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. I thought that man was Carlos. I was just like, oh, look, they got Carlos in the movie. That guy looks exactly like, well, not old Carlos, but he looked exactly like new Resident Evil 2 remake Carlos. Y'all know. He looked like that Carlos. So I was like, oh man, they really got a looker for that dude. All right, cool. Big ups, you know. They really cast him. When I found out it was Leon, I wasn't disappointed. I was like, maybe he could still do a good job. But then I found out that they didn't write any of the characters like any of the characters, which is less than I can say for Cowboy Bebop, and that got canceled. So I think y'all can understand why I haven't seen it yet. These are all just word of mouth opinions. I know you said you've seen it, right?
I've seen some of the Cowboy Bebop remake or live action. Yeah, I've seen some of it.
Have you seen the Resident Evil movie?
I've seen enough of the movie. I haven't seen the full thing. I've seen parts of it, and
okay, would you say that the characters were in or out of character from the norm?
Out of character, for sure. Out of character.
Okay. Like I said, I don't want to spread misinformation. You know, I'm going to be very transparent. If I haven't seen it, I'm just telling y'all what I've heard on the street. And I don't know, man. Movies as a media, when it comes to adaptations to other things that weren't movies originally, I usually 9 times out of 10, when I see the trailer, it's met with a gigantic groan. It's like, oh, here we go. We got another victim. They be completely, just absolutely destroyed, cut apart, torn down, and even losing its own inner essence. And lo and behold, 9 times out of 10, out of those 9 times out of 10, I'm right. Very seldomly do I eat crow and I go, guys, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. That's why when Netflix announced the One Piece thing, I'm like, look, I don't even care for One Piece, but like I feel bad for y'all. But then I also hear that there's a little bit of confirmation coming out that Netflix is working on a Yu Yu Hakusho live action series, and I'm telling you now, my soul is, I know the sunken place is over there, and I feel like there's a gravitational pull that's pulling me that way once that announcement hit my eyes. And I'm gonna tell you right now, seeing Yu Yu Hakusho probably being turned into Boo Boo Fuck Is This is not something that I had on my bingo book. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not really ecstatic, I'm not really feeling it, Mr. Krabs. I'm not. It's not something I wanted to hear. But ultimately, before we got off track, back to the Game Awards, as you know, that there was a interesting award called Innovation in Accessibility. Now, this is for recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features that in, other technologies that help gamers who may be disabled or, may not be able to have the quickest reaction time, or, just allowing more accessibility for their games to be enjoyed by a wider audience, because games are for everyone. And I do agree that is something that a lot of games should strive for. However, the winner was Forza Horizon 5. Now, you may be saying, well, you like Forza Horizon 5. We saw you playing it not too long ago. Like, you put about 40 to 60 hours in it. Like, you love that game. And I absolutely do. However, there's that age-old argument of, do you want the games to play themselves? And you may be, shocked to hear that Forza Horizon 5's accessibility options have automatic throttle control, auto steering, auto traction control, auto gear shifting. So basically, you can legit just hold down the trigger and just sit there like this. Like no BS. Just hold the trigger like this. Just hold it. And the game will complete itself. You can do that. You have that option. Like, that's actually a thing you can do. Now, there's also something for the offline modes that is kind of interesting, where you can slow down the game. Kind of like, how in emulators you could have like a slowdown thing. So you can have the game play at 90%, 80%, 70%, incremental percents as well, all the way down, I think, to like 50. So, like, let's say you don't have the best reaction time, or there's like something that you really, really want to practice. Like, there's multiple ways to look at it. Because on one hand, you'd be like, oh, well, that's just for people to be, accommodated because they're not good at the game. But at the same time, you can use it to level up your game, because you may be like, man, I really suck at this corner. Well, now you can take the corner in slow motion, and now you can see each and every thing that you need to in order to find the best line, the best route, the best way to go across the corner with your specific car. Like it's a tool that a lot of speedrunners use when they're using their tool assisted speedruns in order to find what is the best thing a human can do, what is something that, human anatomy is not yet possible of doing. Like, trust me, it can be a very helpful tool in leveling up and just becoming better at the game itself. So I don't think people need to knock it or be as hard or as harsh on, having accessibility options. 'Cause I know a lot of people are, because at the end of the day, they're all optional. You don't have to use them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, like when people are upset about them existing, I'm like, I don't get how this really does anything to you.
It
Like,
sure doesn't.
Like, especially, in a game that's a racing game, like most of these features can't be used online. So it's not like someone's taking your win away from you. It's not like someone's robbing you of your leaderboard placement. Trust me, there's enough hackers in that game who are doing that already. But, that's neither here nor there. Come on, Forza. Come on, Microsoft. Come on, Turn 10. Be better. Do better.
Yeah, it's all about just allowing people to play the way that they want to. Like, for example, Control has like a bunch of really good and also really, like, I guess you would say, controversial accessibility options that allow you to basically play the game without ever actually dying. Like, you can make it so that you're invincible in the game, so you can just play it for the story, which is fine. Some people want to do that. Some people will have more fun doing that. Me personally, for a game like that, I kind of like that, because then I can just, I can just mess around and like have fun with it, instead of like having to worry about all kinds of like nonsense that's put in the game just to make it more difficult for me when I'm not really trying to take it like super seriously at that moment. So
trust me, don't get me wrong. I like the option, but like 9 times out of 10, I'm trying to sweat. I'm out here trying to lose pounds in my gaming sessions. I'm over here trying to fight the boss at its best, at its peak. And then sometimes when I find out that the boss is just cheating me, come on, there are some bosses, like, and I'm not talking about like Souls games or anything like that. I'm talking about, there's just some games where it's just like, oh no, this is just ridiculous. This man's breaking my spirit. We just gonna talk you down. We're gonna talk you down to normal real quick.
Let me give you an example. Tekken 5, Jinpachi. That is a good example of a boss that just does that, because literally his entire skill set, his move set in that game is like designed to just like take your turn away from you in a game where you need a turn. So yeah, it's ridiculous to have like a boss that can do stuff like that. A boss that can literally like mid combo like just stop you in your place and stun you for like a good 10 to 20 seconds, so they could do whatever and then do a shit ton of damage to you and stuff in a fighting game. So yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say about the accessibility options in Forza is, when you have them on, you actually earn less credits and experience points for finishing each race. So
fine.
It's like, it's not like they're out here just getting everything you get for free, because that's not what happens. And I'm tired of seeing people try to, regurgitate that argument, because it's not true. And it's like, come on, guys. Some of y'all even own the game. You can just toggle it on and see for yourself. You can legit just see for yourself.
Yeah.
But then they don't want to hear that. They don't want to have that conversation. So that's kind of one of those things where it's like, it is what it is, I guess. Kind of sucks. But hey, it's just like that sometimes. Some people want to be hard-headed, don't want to do critical thinking, don't want to think outside the box, don't want to see another perspective. And that's why those people usually get left in the dust typically when it comes to human evolution. But, we know that we live in an idiocracy, so it's going to get worse before it gets better. Trust me. But as you know, there's obviously plenty of other awards here at the Game Awards. And let's be honest, were we shocked by who won Game of the Year? Like, were we shocked? Were we shocked?
A little bit.
Oh, no, a lot of bit. I was hoodwinked. I was guwaped. I found my predictions all sitting in the gulag, because I'm going to tell you this right now. When I saw Metroid Dread and Psychonauts 2, I was like, all right, Metroid Dread's not winning, even though it's my game of the year. I know for a fact that, come on, guys, it's a Metroid game. A Metroid game just being nominated as game of the year, that in and of itself was like a miracle to us. Like we were just happy to be there, to be honest with you.
This was the game and the year for a Metroid game to actually win Game of the Year, because so many people were praising Metroid Dread for being basically like a good Metroid game.
Yeah.
Just doing what it normally does, except doing it all properly, and people like actually picking game. You're like, wow.
Because I mean, we really haven't experienced the continuation of the Metroid story since 2002 when Fusion dropped. And if we're being honest, the last 2D game that we got that was officially made by a Nintendo studio, Mercury Steam there. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Samus Returns was pretty mid in all categories. Like, it was like a game that existed, and I wouldn't really say it necessarily has the most replayability because it came out, people bought it, we played it, we were just like, and we just kind of moved on. It wasn't really a game that ended up turning into a speed game. There weren't people out here trying to blitz for world record. Like, it wasn't like a huge community driven thing, much like, all the other 2D Metroid games have this illustrious speedrun records, these big communities, ROM hacks, fan games based off of it, blah, 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 so on and so forth. We're also seeing this starting to pick up steam with Dread, because Dread's getting mods, Dread's getting like new world record speedruns every day. There's plenty of content creators who are still making Dread content, whether it be through speedruns or challenge runs, etc. So, it's nice to see. So I'm not saying that Samus Returns, their first outing, was a bad game. What I'm saying is Samus Returns crawled so that Metroid Dread could use the speed booster, okay? Like that's what I'm talking about. It took the first game to get to the total package that we got, and I can't wait to see what Mercury Steam brings us next time, because if they go through the same level of trajectory, there's no, like, if the next Metroid title that they work on is the exact same amount of improvement from Samus Returns to Dread, and convert that from Dread to their next game, there's no reason why that next Metroid game could not be Game of the Decade. That's right, Game of the Decade. Because that's huge. Because if Dread is where it's at, and you double that, then that's going to be a tough out. It's going to be a tough out. With the other candidates, Psychonauts 2, great game. Everyone probably thought that was going to win Game of the Year. Resident Evil Village. Look, I'm not going to hold you.
That's what I thought was going to win, because
I didn't think that was going to win.
No, you got to think about it this way, because this is the Game Awards. Psychonauts 2, sure, it's a really good game, but you got to think about the overall population who saw it, played it, and said themselves, this is a good game. Resident Evil Village, that game had one character who put the game on the map for people who don't even care about Resident Evil games, and even convinced some of them to buy the game. So I was like, that's probably going to win. And then it didn't. And when I think about the game that did win, it kind of makes sense. Like, It Takes Two makes sense, because it's a game that a lot of people, a lot of more casual gamers will play, and then also incorporate friends, partners, etc., and just have a really nice time. And it's just made for that nice and wholesome experience. But Lady D is in RE Village, and the cultural impact that character had.
Oh my God, this man said
out.
Cultural impact.
When
that
the
is
game
hyperbole. That is cap. That is just
Google
horny
Lady
people
D right now.
No, I will not, because I am not going to be victimized, brutalized
exactly
by the horny propaganda that is going to be shown into my optics. I don't want that.
What you got to know about this world is that when enough people are horny about one thing, the rest of the people are going to kind of be like, look over the corner and be like, hey, what's that? What's talking about over there? Why is that enticing you so much? You know what? I think I got to get a little taste. See if that hits me too.
Nah, man, we are not running in that situation of just a bunch of dudes huddled over someone's like, hey man, what you looking at?
It's not, that is the world now.
Then you squint your eyes and go, where your clothes at? What y'all got going on over here? Like, nah, man, I'm not out here for that.
Thanks to the internet, that's the world right now. Because when OnlyFans started to pop up, people are, it was the whole a few horny guys around the computer monitor, like, oh man, this is looking real nice over here, and then some people were just like, hey, what's that? what's that over there? And then some people were like, oh, I think I could do that too, and then it becomes the OnlyFans of today, where like so many people, you hear the name and people are like, oh, that platform, huh? And that's it.
We know what goes on over there.
Exactly. That Lady D was the same thing. It's like what? Why do people keep talking about some tall lady? What are you talking about? A
And you
tall
want to, and
woman?
you want to, and you want to know the wild thing about it? That character gets her cards revoked after the first act of the game. There,
Exactly.
I'm not trying to spoil. She is not even there for the halfway point of the game. Like she dies pretty early on.
She is the first boss, guys. like that is the insane thing. She's the first boss of the game. She was the demo. She was the section of the game that people played through the most. She is the first boss of the game, and people were hyping her up like she was going to be the final boss of the game. She was not.
But you want to know what's wild though? Like, because trust me, I have seen some of your degeneracy because I've seen what floats to the top of the mods page. There are mods to have Lady D naked. There are mods to give her bigger breasts. There are mods to give her bigger cheeks. There is a mod where you walk around with a fly swatter and you smack her butt as she chases you. But you chase her. Like that. Y'all have put in the time. Y'all have the time. Y'all have got the time.
Yep, they sure do. It's pretty insane, honestly. Like wild that people have put in that time to do all these things. But it's the internet, man. You will find the people who have that time just laying
You
around.
sure
to
will.
do that,
You sure will. And the messed up part is like they probably haven't stopped. There's probably more. There's probably an infinite amount more. Like I'm afraid to actually go on Game Banana right now and see if there's any mods for that game because I'm pretty sure if I do, they're all going to be Lady D related.
Not
and maybe
all.
like, all right,
it
let's
might be related to.
Let's take that
the
bet right now.
are in the game too. Hey man.
Okay, Lady, they'll all be Lady D adjacent. How about that?
It'll be Lady D. Some people might be a little horny for Chris. Equal opportunity stuff.
All right. That's fine. We're just gonna go Resident Evil.
Oh no, he's doing it.
No, it's fine. It's fine, babe. It's fine, bro.
Look, after I saw a YouTube video of someone posting themselves using nude mods in Street Fighter V, the world just opened up for me. I was like, wow, I cannot believe that you care that much that you posted a video about this. And you're somehow enjoying like just playing Street Fighter V with nude mods for the characters, mostly the women in the game, which was like, how do you do that? Like you can't play the game seriously. Like if you're doing it for the purpose of like, being horny, like
yeah, but you want to know something that I found like mad wild? Because I looked up Street Fighter V mods because what was the competitive mod that they made? It changed the UI, it changed like different moves. It put the cop dude in the game.
I don't remember the name of it, but I do know what you're talking about.
Okay, so I was looking for stuff for that mod, and next to that mod was the very same mod that you're talking about in terms of related videos on YouTube. And apparently there's a dude who literally uploads his Street Fighter V rank matches with the nude mod on it. That's it. That's his content. He doesn't commentate. He doesn't talk. He doesn't leave annotations. Nothing. Like apparently you can get viewership like that.
He got subs like that, and YouTube doesn't like. Come on, man.
That's what I said. I was like, YouTube's not going to do anything about this. I mean, more power to him. I get. All right, so let me read the top 6 mods over here for Resident Evil Village.
Oh no.
Lazy FOV and Vignette Fix. Okay. That makes, games a little bit better, plays a little bit better. All right, cool. Second, Daughter's Flies removed. So there will be no more flies obscuring your vision of the daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Lady Dimitrescu, black dress.
I mean, that's pretty tame. I mean, color change. That's
Number
all right.
4.
Oh, no.
Ethan's Fly Swatters. There's different color palettes to leave different colored marks. Right.
Well.
Quite right. Replacing the figurine of Donna with the fixed-faced one. So you basically Don't have to look at ugly Donna anymore. You can now look at beautiful actress Donna. Then there's an FOV slider. Then there's Daughters of Yorha. Give Dimitrescu daughters a Yorha dress. Optionally, you can give them a visor with the virtuous contract.
It's with people in goddamn Near Automata, like, dolls. Like, I don't understand this. 2B and, like, the aesthetic of all the Yorha units, like, even now you're all so horny that you just decided, yeah, we're gonna put that there. You know that there are other games that have, like, done these same things in more of a way tailored to your wants and needs.
Here's a mod I can get behind. Here's a mod. SpongeBob's craft paintings to replace all paintings in Lady D's castle. So you got Bold and Brash, Alexander the Great. So yeah. All right. We can get behind that.
We sure can.
That's tough. That's tough, buddy. But technically, I'm not logged in, so technically, I think these are only the safe for work mods. I'm glad because I definitely can't put any of this on the screen here. So we're just gonna get up out of there, bro.
Yeah, you do that.
We don't. I am not trying to take that L, bro. Is that a name change you see? I have been this for at least. It's been about a year and a half now, right? Almost 2.
I don't.
We've been chilling over here for a while.
For Pop Kids, sir, because
I'm talking about Kaiser as a whole. Relax.
No, I think that person is talking about Pop Kids. No, you can't.
No, that's
you can't do that.
That's Ernest Uno. I bought art from this man.
No, man, you can't.
He's the reason. He's the reason. Hold on, y'all. He's the reason for like 80% of the stuff that happened back there. The only thing he ain't do is the Metroid stuff and goddamn, shit. Yeah, the Metroid shit. Yeah,
don't worry about that. To me that he's definitely asking about the Pop Kids name change because he knows the specifics.
I know. I know, like, man. Hey, bro. I'm just letting him know that like he's still up there. Like I know who this is, bro.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, man, you ain't Terrence Howard, bro. Don't do that. Come on, man. I just want you to know.
Come on, man. You know who really says that?
No, I don't. Nah, don't do it. Don't do it. You dare.
Hey, all right. We won't speak of his name here. Lest he come through. Why y'all doing all that gay shit? So, hey.
Pain. But I hope you've been well, Artisan. I hope you've been doing good over there. Also, Troll, I understand you said you was going to be clingy, but we appreciate that. We appreciate a brother checking in on another brother. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate that out here. But anywho, back to the topic at hand. We already know that there's been some. Let's just say the modding community will never cease to amaze and or surprise me in any way, shape, or form. But knowing what Village had to offer, knowing what Ratchet and Clank had to offer,
also. Real quick, knowing what happened when Village won Best Voice Actor at the Game Awards, still did not win Game of the Year. Absolutely insane. If you know, you know. But the Game Awards definitely clipped it out on their YouTube channel so that you will know. All right?
Yeah,
look out. Look out Maggie Robertson winning her Best Voice Actor or Voice Actress award at the Game Awards. And you'll see it on their channel.
Yep, because they knew what was going on. They knew what was going down. Now, what was funny to me was everybody and their grandma thought Deathloop was supposed to be like, not necessarily cyberpunk level of greatness when it came to what they promised, but like they were pushing that game like that was supposed to be the game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't hear nobody talking about it. I don't even know if people actually really play it like that. Like it came out, people played it for like 4 or 5 days, and then I've heard nothing. It's like a ghost town. I'm not saying that no one's playing it now. I'm just saying none of my friends have played it. Have you played it?
It's game of the mid. That's
game
why.
Of the mid of the year. All right.
Mid of the year right there. That's why. Like, because, the concept is interesting. The concept is kind of cool. The other part of the whole, like, there's going to be someone who's going to chase you around and like, ruin your game while you're trying to fix this story of this time jumping nonsense. That was not implemented very well. You either get an AI or you get some random person. Either way, it's not really that difficult to deal with this other person who's supposed to be kind of a main character in the game.
Got you. Because look, It Takes Two, I'll admit, I had not heard of it until it won Game of the Year. But once I found out it won Game of the Year, I was like, good for them, man. I'm happy for them. Because let's face it, fam. The usual suspects, the big AAA that are literally just, we're too big to fail, so we have to win an award. I'm glad they're not winning as much as, they used to. And I don't mean just for Game Awards. I mean, just in general. People have now accepted that there are alternatives. That's why games like Splitgate can come out and a lot of people go over there and play it and enjoy it. Talk it up. Hype it up. Make sure that everyone, Splitgate's pretty legit. It's if you were into Halo, but you're not into Halo, because Halo actually exists now. And Halo Infinite actually is good, guys. It's pretty good. Not gonna lie to you. But for anybody who was starving for Halo, but didn't like what the Master Chief Collection was for a while, Splitgate was a great place to go, because not only was it Halo-esque, it had portals, it did enough to differentiate itself, and it actually was a very cohesive experience that really, I don't want to talk about the phrase skill gap, but let's face it, when games have a skill gap, it feels really good when you can feel yourself actually getting better. And the fact that you can show growth as a player in that game, real good stuff, real good stuff. But best game direction, which is awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design, Deathloop beat It Takes Two. And that's one thing that has always made me question some of these awards, because it'll be this thing wins Game of the Year, but it lost to this game in its own category.
Yeah.
And you gotta start being is that really how we go? Because It Takes Two and Deathloop were also in Best Narrative, but that was won by Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I had not seen that coming. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That one shocked me, but maybe, Guardians of the Galaxy has a really sick narrative. Like I said, I haven't played it, but, Godspeed to them. Seems like DC is going to try their hand at making the exact same game with their Suicide Squad game, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Best Art Direction, that also went to Deathloop. Best Score and Music. Here's what's weird. See, it says Best Score / Music. Now, the problem with score, it says for outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Problem is, something could have the single best song by itself, just bar none, the best song. But somebody else can have an overall better soundtrack. So how does quality equal more than quantity, or does quantity equal more than quality? And what if the quantity is big and the quality is good, but this other one's quantity is very small and limited, but it's got one great thing in it? How do you determine when? I just feel like that's a weird award to have, especially since you have Cyberpunk 2077 as a nominee, which is funny to me because while it has a group of licensed music, they also have the Twitch Safety Protocol OST, which is your royalty-free music. So I don't know how you deal with that. Best audio design went to Forza Horizon 5. So I guess y'all like the sound of cars. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of science that went into, I don't know if you've ever seen the video on how they get some of the car sounds. They got all these mounted brackets and cameras and microphones all over the car. And don't get me wrong, it is very impressive. It is very impressive. I'm not trying to slight them in any way, shape, or form or say that it's some easy thing to do. It's just that every car that's in the game, they didn't do it to. I'll say that right now. Some of these cars have some very stock sounds and do not sound accurate in the slightest. And that's fine because you have almost 800 cars in the damn game. It's a lot of cars. That's a lot of vehicles.
See, to the non-car person who's playing your racing game, they're just car go vroom. All right, awesome, cool.
Car go vroom, bro. Hey, that's all you need. Best performance, that went to Resident Evil Village's Lady D, Maggie Robertson. How you're killing it. Games for Impact. Now, this is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning and or message. And this is normally your Life is Strange, No Longer Home, Boyfriend Done, the stuff that a very, very niche audience plays for, but they're probably a very vocal minority niche audience. These are people who will put on for their game. and Life is Strange: True Colors won that. And I don't think Life is Strange has ever lost games for impact or categories of such too many times, because when they drop a new Life is Strange, it just seems like it doesn't matter what the other game is talking about. Like they're just this is the Life is Strange award.
Yeah, I think the only other game that came close to it was the one about the brother and sister who were linked somehow, and there was some like psychic stuff involved. That might have actually been a Life is Strange game also. But yeah, I think that was the only game that would ever, whatever, because people usually just see this category as whatever game made me hit my emotions and my feels a lot. So
true. Best ongoing game. Now this is the one where they got the right winner. They did not miss, because the nominees were Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, and Final Fantasy XIV Online. Final Fantasy XIV won, and it's the only game that I could think of in any circumstance, in any time period, that sold too much that they had to stop selling it.
Exactly. Suck it, Fortnite.
Like, they're like, our servers cannot, we're taking a beating out here. We cannot tell you, buy our game, you buy it, and then you just look at the login splash page that says you have 12,000 people ahead of you. Good luck, Chuck. Maybe you'll play today. Maybe you'll play tomorrow. If you don't have the chance to play today, I hope you bought Overwatch, because that might be the only game you're getting into tonight. But please don't buy Overwatch, because Blizzard and Activision do not. They don't deserve your ducats. Not your money, not your cheese, your fetty. They keep it all in your pocket. I would rather you put it in a paper shredder than give it to Blizzard right now. But we've talked about that the past 2 or 3 episodes. We don't need to regurgitate that information back to you now. Best indie game.
We're not going to talk about the milking stuff that came out, because you guys already know. You already know. I mean, it's ridiculous. But what more can you hear about this to be like?
When you just when you thought it couldn't get worse, you find out that apparently male employees at Blizzard are going into the fridge and rating it for their female contemporaries, employees, and coworkers' breast milk.
Yep. Look, man, we're just 2 weeks away from hearing about a toilet cam in the women's restroom, and then just the whole company getting shut down or something, because that's really all that's happening here. That's where it's going at this point. They're just going to keep revealing all these secrets, and someone's going to be like, hey, yeah, I remember seeing a video camera in the restroom while I was just relieving myself, and they're like, excuse me, and then that's it.
She's trying to tell me they put a Ring doorbell on the flush button, so like you think that you flush in the toilet, but oh no, oh god.
That's 50 articles written, and then that's a company destroyed. Exactly. So, anyways,
I don't even know if that'll destroy it. I just think Activision would just like, no, we're just Activision now, but the Blizzard people will still be around. And then like Call of Duty will go out there and sell gangbusters, and then they'll convert all that money into whatever other backdoor projects they have. Because the business world is weird, and somehow when you think something would kill a company, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they somehow weather the storm and they're stronger.
You're right, because they can make us forget easily. I mean, look at Riot. Riot is in kind of like a similar boat, and we've kind of forgotten about it because of Arcane coming out and being like, the godlike. And so people are just kind of like, huh? What? They did what? Oh man, that really sucks. But I really like the show. Did you see Vi and Caitlyn together? Oh my god.
And then it's like, man, I don't even want to play League of Legends, man. And then they're like, oh, Project L, something else, in the future. And like, there it goes. There it goes. All the stuff that you were mad about the workplace entanglement that they found themselves over there at Riot and what they found themselves in. For a lot of people, it's now water under the bridge. It shouldn't be. It's still a very important issue that I think that actually needs to have some comeuppance. I need to see some, not necessarily see heads roll, but I need to see some punishes doled out. I need to see some actual progression, having some good positive testimonials from people who work there now would do a long, it would go a long way, but we'll see what happens when we get there. Best mobile game went to Genshin Impact. I'm not really too surprised by that one. Pokemon Unite fans are like, we got snubbed, and it's like, y'all don't even like y'all's game, bro. Don't.
Also, is that really a mobile game? It's just a Switch game for all of us.
Yeah, like it's just a Switch game. I mean, you can even play it on your PS4. Like, you can play it on your PC. That's where I played it. It being a mobile game, kind of unfair, because it's basically a PC game on your mobile device. But, if it's on mobile, it counts. And yeah, Pokemon Unite being a Switch game, you could see how it may be a little bit of an unfair advantage. But then there's two games I never heard of because I knew League of Legends was there. I didn't know Marvel Future Revolution even came out. And there's another game called Fantasian, and I'm not going to hold you. I've never even heard of that one. But like Marvel Future Revolution, I think we talked about it on an episode of the podcast. I didn't even know it was out. But apparently it's out.
Future Revolution isn't that the one where they have like all these like weird combinations of characters and stuff of like, oh, this is the future, so this is Black Widow and Captain America's child right here and blah blah blah. You know, isn't it that one? Because I remember seeing like pops for it and stuff like that. And
because I remember talking about this like in the middle of March or April.
Yeah,
apparently it came out in like August. So like,
yeah,
boo boo on me allegedly.
I mean, we talked about it around then because it was like what it was announced, or they were announcing like new content for it, and then it came out, and you know, the people who care, they care, and everyone else is just kind of like, oh, whatever.
I mean, it is what it is, man. It be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. And the other thing about the Game Awards is most of the other categories kind of went the exact same way that you would expect them to. Best community support, Final Fantasy 14. I mean, let's face it. I mean, once again, it sold out. Then you had like your best esports event, which I think that's a terrible, terrible award because it's like, what are you really? Because like League of Legends World Championship, I'm sure that's great. I'm sure a lot of League heads loved it. But at the same time, what are these criterias based off of?
Exactly.
Because it says recognizing an event across single or multiple days that delivered a best of class experience for participants and the broadcast audience.
That's like every esports event that's not like the base. Every esports event that has money put into it is going to give you that kind of experience.
Yeah, because like I'm not saying that they're all the exact same, but they do give you a very samey experience. The only thing that's different is how popular is the game that you're competing for or watching.
Yeah.
Because like I don't care about League of Legends at all. So like if I was at the League, Legends World Championship, would I have given a fuck? No. So like I don't know. I just think it's a weird award, but more power to them, I guess. Best esports game, League of Legends won because when's the last time it's lost? Did it lose last year?
I don't think so. I mean, what were the other games that are even like in that section? I don't remember.
So it's weird because it says CS:GO, which specifically means Counter-Strike. Go. Very specific game. Dota 2, Valorant, and then it just says Call of Duty. So I guess all of Call of Duty, like all of it. Like
all of it.
Like mobile, Warzone, what's the one that's out now?
Vanguard.
Vanguard, there you go. I was about to call it Valhalla. I'm like, no. No, that's not it.
I mean, League is gonna beat all those games because nothing announced there is an esports game that matters. So like, if they announce Fortnite, okay, Fortnite is beating it. I think Fortnite did beat it one year, but I don't even know if Fortnite is considered an esports game anymore because when do you see competitive Fortnite now?
I mean, my favorite thing about competitive Fortnite was there was a group of kids who won and they said, hey, we're retiring. Why?
Yeah,
we don't really like the game. Yeah, they were like, we don't even like the game. We're happy to win, so we're out. But one of the other awards was most anticipated game was God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Starfield. And spoiler, none of them won because the winner was Elden Ring. And it was just like, I wonder exactly how you measure that.
I wonder how you measure that too. Most anticipated game, like, okay. Elden Ring had just gotten an announcement like a week prior to it with some more like gameplay. So of course, it would have been in the zeitgeist and it would have been like, oh, this is gonna win because we weren't talking about the other games.
Yeah, because it would have been the freshest on most people's minds. Like it's literally what we just saw. Like that was the key that was most recently jangled in front of my face. I anticipate that one now, but it is what it is. But as you know, it's not just about the awards, it's about the announcements because Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad get some footage shown off. Wonder Woman's game is going to be a game, which I don't know too much about, but you said it's going to have the, what would you call it? The rival system?
the Nemesis system. So the team that made Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
Mhm.
Well, first off, Warner Bros. Has taken the Nemesis system in those games, and they actually like patented that thing so that other game companies can't use it for their games. And so they're just going to take it, and since they have it, they're going to apply it to this Wonder Woman game, which sounds like it's going to be the exact same experience, except somehow they're going to tie like Wonder Woman like villains to this. And the Nemesis system is cool though. Like in Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, since this is a game where you're going against orcs and like the structure of orcs where they have like generals and all that kind of stuff. Um, let's say you fucked around with like a general, right? You fucked around with a war chief, and he got you down to like 1 health, but you got to beat him up, you got away, and then you're running around, and some like common orc finds you and is like, "Hey Ranger, I saw what you did to my master," whatever, and he hits you once and you die. In the course of you dying and like your character coming back to life, that orc gets promoted and he remembers beating your ass, and all the other orcs kind of remember it too. So like if you're running around after you come back to life and you see him again, he's like, well, Ranger, we meet again, huh? Well, it's time for me to give you a thrashing like last time. And then whatever. So they had this whole system of like when you're not playing the game is still like upgrading all of these like enemies in their hierarchy. And now with Wonder Woman, they're gonna apply the same thing, which I literally don't know what kind of like creature is gonna like fit the bill for this. So I don't know. Maybe she's gonna fight Cheetah like 10 billion times, and Cheetah's just gonna keep coming back. She's like, well, Diana, it seems we meet again. You may have beaten me last time, but you won't beat me again.
Cheetah, Ares. I mean, here's the thing: are they going to pull from the mythos of like the comics, or are they going to keep it more like we're just going to steal from everybody else? Like Lex Luthor's going to show up in a mech suit.
I think they're gonna keep it comic wise for Wonder Woman stuff, but honestly, since it's a DC property and it's made by Warner Bros. Or it's being published by Warner Bros., they can do whatever they want as far as the DC universe goes, and they'll just kind of like apply whatever they need to apply to get sales. So Superman might show up for all we know.
I mean, are we going to get Ares? Like, is that? Are we going to get? Oh God, what's her name? Giganta.
Oh, Giganta, yeah. Maybe, probably not. I don't know. Like that'd be weird to put in the game. It'd be really cool, but the last time you saw that character was her being a background, like interactable in Injustice 1. So,
that's terrible. But you're right. All right, what about Silver Swan? Maybe we get Firstborn. I don't know.
Who are these people? That's what the people are gonna say. So.
No, don't you do that. Firstborn
that's exactly
is
what I'm saying.
If I remember right, Firstborn is the first child of Zeus. That's how that goes. All right, give us Cersei. Yeah, Cersei. How about that? Can we get that?
Again,
fight a sorceress. Don't you dare say who is that. Don't you dare.
No, you see where you're picking, like you're picking all these characters, and the general public are going to be like, who is that? They're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to find characters who can fit in this Wonder Woman solo game. So it's
okay. That's how you gonna get Lex Luthor in a suit.
Exactly.
Man on Themyscira. You unhand that piece of land. You man.
I don't think it's going to be like focused on the movies, because the Wonder Woman model that they showed in the like teaser is not Gal Gadot, or not like based on like Gal Gadot's like face or whatever. So I think maybe they're just going to focus on the comics, and there's not going to be like like Chris Pine is not going to show up as what's his face from the dude that inhabited the body of another man.
Oh, Trevor.
Yeah, as Trevor. So stuff like that is probably not going to get incorporated. It's just going to be like Wonder Woman, and then an overarching story with some big bad villain, maybe Ares, maybe Brainiac for all we know. Who knows? Like it'll be something.
Here's the thing: I don't think they're going to use Brainiac because that's Suicide Squad. You're
You're
not gonna have
right.
2 Brainiac games. That'd be weird, bro.
We have 2 Batman games.
One of which might be vaporware, because I don't think we've heard anything about the second one. We heard about Gotham Knights. I don't think we heard too much about the second one in terms of like footage or any sort of like outside information. We just know that it exists out there somewhere.
Oh, speaking of those games, though, Suicide Squad got an actual gameplay trailer.
And I'm not going to lie, it just looks like you're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy with more characters.
Yeah.
Now, personally, the 3-minute trailer that they showed, like, I don't know. It showed me that they were just like trying to emulate what they saw in the like every joke that they had in the latest Suicide Squad movie, the second one.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they just said, put that in the game. That was funny. Put that in the game.
That's exactly
and
what's
here we
happening.
are.
And it's really weird because like it seems like this game was supposed to come out right after the Suicide Squad movie. But you know, for whatever reason, you know, the development schedule for this game didn't really line up with that. And now when this comes out, people have already kind of like had that movie out of their brains. And we're not getting anything that's really going to put it back in their minds before this game. Besides maybe the Peacekeeper theories, but
look, if it wasn't for John Cena, that wouldn't exist. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
You're right.
Because after I got done with watching that movie, I'm gonna tell you right now, at no point was I thinking, yo, that Peacekeeper guy, he deserves his own series. That's not, to be honest, out of that entire team, he's probably the last one. Okay, I don't think anyone wants to see Rat Girl. I'll give you that one.
People would want to see Rat Girl, but they would not want to see the rats.
Well, no, because then it would just be a story about a child and like her weird defunct homeless dad.
Well, her homeless dad is dead, so it'd be like about her being on weird misadventures
with her rat friends. Oh,
and
it'd be live action Hamtaro with a human.
And what's his face? Idris Elba's character, not Deadshot.
Oh my god! Had you said not Deadshot, I would know his name. But because you said not Deadshot, I forgot. No, shut up! Don't tell me. Oh my god! Oh my god! No, not like this. I knew his name. Oh no! No! Hold on.
I can give you a hint.
No, stop. Let me think. Oh, I see him. I'm looking at him. What's his name? I'm literally reliving that SpongeBob episode. What is his name? Did we burn it? Did we throw it away? Oh my god.
I can give you a hint.
Bloodsport.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Oh my god. Someone in the chat type one guy man.
One guy man, no.
I don't ever want to see a hero thing or a villain, for that matter, named One Guy Man. I'm good. I'm good on that one, actually. But
well, Guilty Gear already gave us that man, so
Soul Bad Guy. Well, hey, maybe Soul Bad Guy and One Guy. Oh my god, that means there's an alternate universe where there's a Blaze Blue game with One Guy Man as the protagonist.
Oh god.
And Jin the Soul Edge is in Guilty Gear. Oh my god. Then we have Mortal Caliber and Soul Combat. Anyways, well, let's get back into our universe where things make somewhat sense.
Yeah.
Sonic Frontiers, as you called it, what was it? You called it Sonic of the Colossus?
Yeah, Sonic of the Colossus. There we go.
And it's it's an open world game in which, we know very, very frighteningly little. So, could it be good? Sure. Could it be terrible? Probably. And the reason why I say probably is, let's face it, Sonic games are known for going fast, not for their open world freedom adventure gameplay.
What are you talking about, man? What about Sonic Adventure? This is the actual meeting that happened. See, someone said that, and then another guy was like, "What about Sonic Adventure 1 and 2?" And,
then that's when someone should have responded with, "Well, in Sonic Adventure 1, the adventure fields were something that people wanted to see grow. But then we realized, yeah, that's probably not a good idea, so we just scrapped them." Wait, what do you mean you scrapped them? We made an adventure 2. Yeah, we did. There was no adventure.
There was no adventure.
The adventure fields were not present in that game. Sorry, they were nicked. But what about Sonic 06?
What?
We do not
What
recall.
is that? Yeah.
We do not talk about that in the kingdom. And I think the biggest reveal for me, well, I know some people were hyped for Space Marine 2. That I could have slept through that. But
then why now?
Because I just feel like it is too late. I know some people were hyped about it, and yeah, I'm happy for you. I'm genuinely happy for you. I'm just like, whatever. It is what it is. But for me, the big reveal was Alan Wake 2. But at the same time, you could also make the sake of the argument, why now?
Look, at least Alan Wake 2 has like a reason for being here now, because Control like put that out into the ether, and people, when they got the DLC that like connected everything together, they were like, "Oh my god, that's really amazing. When are we getting Alan Wake 2?" And so now we have Alan Wake 2 announced. I don't know who in the world was out here like, "Please, Space Marine 2! Space Marine!" Like nobody was out here like, maybe some guy on like a forum or something while he was playing.
What are we talking about, man? We got Fire Wizard J in the chat. He was like, "Hey, me, I'm dude. He is one guy, man." On the forums.
It wasn't enough people to be like, "Let's make the game now," like years later.
We have found one guy, man. But speaking of things that are now existing and we're saying why now, apparently Dragon Ball FighterZ is not done getting support. Yes, it's 2021, and you heard me say the phrase Dragon Ball FighterZ is not done getting support. Because as you guys can see in the background that I showed earlier, that I do have a poster with Android 21 on it. Apparently Android 21 is coming to Dragon Ball FighterZ again. This time wearing a lab coat, because apparently lab coat 21 is going to be different than regular Majin 21, which on one hand that does make a bit of sense, because you don't have the tail, so you won't have that obnoxious 2H. But then you got to ask yourself, why are we doing this? Because, well, why not? We got 6 Gokus, we got 3 Vegetas. Like, I feel like at this point, you might as well add on every little morsel you can out of the IP. Let's get curling with hair. Let's get heart disease Goku. Let's up the ante, ladies and gentlemen. We can pump it up. Look, we can pump it up, folks. Now, what her moveset's going to be, don't know. Have no idea. I couldn't even pretend to guess. Unless they're just going to make her Kokonoe from Blaze Blue, but I also don't want that.
Absolutely not. They're never going to do anything close to that, because Kokonoe is Kokonoe, and Blaze Blue is the only game that could allow something like that to happen, and somehow also regulate that in a way where she is not busted anymore.
Because there was an era where that character was. We don't talk about it. We're just not going to talk about it. We're just going to move on. We're going to move forward. We're past it. It can't. Kokonoe Day 1 can't hurt you anymore.
Yep. But like whatever moveset 21 get, 21 lab coat gets, it's going to be inferior to what we already have, because the powered up version of the character is already out here. That's why you do this sort of thing backwards.
Because she is definitely an S. Because Android 21, the one that we have right now, is an S tier character.
Yeah.
Lab coat might end up being one of them lab coat characters. You in the lab and it looked good. But when you on the sticks, it ain't actually that great. It's not all it's cracked up to be. But for all we know, this could just be a costume. This could be a cosmetic. This could be. But the reason why I don't think it's like that is because they use the join the fight tagline, which they've thus far only have used for character reveals.
Yeah, actually.
So, and it has parentheses around it, like to differentiate it, which is something they've also only done. Like, it's not Videl and then parentheses pigtails.
Videl being still the only character in the game who has an alternate costume.
Hey, man, she gave up her reflect to get that costume. That's tough, buddy. That's a real rough way to go, but, you know, that's where we are with that. Cowboy Bebop, as you all know, got a live action adaptation, and now a lot of people are caping for the show post-mortem because now they're like, I can't believe you dirty fans of the anime. How could you take this away from us? I love this adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. And it was like, did you? Did you? Because I've seen the reviews. A lot of y'all were not vocal about this hyping at all. Y'all were not sharing the good words, and you gotta watch it, man. You got it. Y'all were not doing that.
Here's what I've seen. I've seen a lot of people who are either like, oh, I'm not really like super big into the original series, or I have a friend who's so into the series that they've got tattoos of the characters and like, they do all kinds of things showing that they're a super fan. And they said that this new series was all right. This live action Netflix series was all right.
And then it wasn't.
Nah, all right is not good. Is not like a good. The all right is not like the most amazing thing ever.
Exactly, because I think the writing was pretty. It was pretty ass. Let's just be honest. I do feel bad for Jet. Not gonna lie, because that man tried. His actor tried.
He did. He was fine. Jet was fine. Spike was okay. Like if you ignore certain things. Like he's fine. Faye was weird.
Faye wasn't Faye, like at all. But she wasn't like a terrible character, but it's just once again, I feel like the entire mood, the entire tone of the series, the thing that seeks the hooks into you to watch the anime.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of that. It was not present in any way, shape, or form in this. Which anybody who's even slightly interested in the original source material who would be coming to see this is obviously going to poo it.
It was like, okay, it was like the season of Supernatural where Sam loses his soul and like he's just around, like he's there, he's still doing stuff, and like sometimes he seems like himself, and then they get into some weird conundrum, and they're just like, wait, what did you just do? He's like, yeah, I don't really care about this situation at all because I don't have a soul. Is like I gotta murder you to move forward. All right, I'll do that right now. They're like, we gotta get Sam his soul back right now.
All right,
the show's missing his soul. Like it looked and appeared as though it was the same as the anime or the same as the original material. But then the more you pay attention to it, the more you notice like there are minute details that show that it's missing.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. They wanted to change the essence of the show, but they also wanted to, have a series where they had a strong female character who does a lot of the heavy lifting. They wanted to make sure that when it came to the villain, that it wasn't some cis white dude out here who was out here pulling all the cards. It was going to be a woman. They wanted, the strong women. They wanted a black man who wasn't going to take no trash from anybody and was going to lay it down and be a great leader. And I was like, if y'all wanted to do this, you could have just adapted Black Lagoon. Because that show already exists.
Cowboy Bebop does have those things.
No, I know they have those things. I'm just talking about the way they wrote this show and the characterizations of how they wrote them. They literally wrote Black Lagoon in space.
Yeah, but I mean, like the original, like the anime has those things. If they just adapted the anime like more like accurate to the anime itself.
No, I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is what they wrote was Black Lagoon. That is what they wrote. That is what they have. They have Black Lagoon in space.
That was another weird thing about the live action. Like the space part was kind of not done well. Like one of the biggest parts of like Cowboy Bebop is that all this stuff is in like a futuristic like space timeline, and a lot of it was just kind of like as if they were doing it like in 2020, and then there happens to be like a space casino that Elon Musk built like tomorrow or something. And
not in Tomorrowland.
Like I don't know, it was kind of weird that they were a little bit lacking on that part, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. If this was named something else, it would have been fine. It wouldn't have gotten the shit that it got. But they're trying to use the name to get views, which that
I know.
sucks.
They're just trying to get that nice immediate cash grab. So when it gets canceled, I'm like, I don't know who's shocked. I mean, we've seen shows that are good get canceled early. Because, I mean, let's face it. I don't care if you're on Netflix or if you're on syndicated television. Let's face it, folks. Stop writing shows like you're guaranteed 6 seasons. There are shows that are good, get 2 seasons in, and then they're like, yeah, the network said it's over, bruh.
There's shows
GG's.
that are bad that get 6 seasons. So
It's always a dice roll and a crapshoot. So this really isn't too shocking to me. But regardless, it's time to talk about the main event, the 7-course meal, the 3 Spider-Man. It's time to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you are interested in anything MCU related or Spider-Man related, you need to leave now if you haven't seen the movie. And if you have seen the movie, I think we can all say that this is safe to say that this goes down as probably a top 3 MCU related film and a top 4 all-timer for superhero movies, period, because of all the things that culminate in this movie. Now, I will say this. How we get here, I don't like the vehicle. I tell you that right. I do not like the vehicle that we pulled up in. But the destination, worth it. I will take the struggle bus that we rode in on, because there's a little bit of a part of the plot that's a little bit flimsy, but I'll talk about that later. We'll get into that discussion. But what did you think of the movie? I thought it was great.
all right. Before we get to the spoilers part, one, you spoiled the movie twice already in here. Two, it's a light spoiler because most of the people who've been paying attention knew, but they just didn't get the confirmation, which is the weird part about the marketing. You could have it would have been better if they had at least teased it in the marketing of who's that, guys? Because they showed the rest, whatever. Anyways, the movie is good. The movie is very, very good. It seems like they really put their time into making this a very structured story, so that anyone, even people who don't pay attention to the MCU, will watch it and really, really enjoy it. And I think Marvel should put that kind of effort in all the movies. Now that they have TV shows, if they want to put less effort in things. But before getting into spoilers, the movie's good. Watch it. If you care about Spider-Man, watch it. If you care about the MCU, definitely watch it because of what's shown at the end credits. Not the first end credit scene, but the second end credit scene.
Yes, there are 2. So you gotta stay past the black and whites as well.
Yeah. So watch it if you haven't. If you're trying to stay safe or whatever, petition Disney Plus to actually release a digital version of the movie. I don't know, in a week or 2 from now, so that you can actually watch it at home, because it wouldn't be. At this point, it wouldn't really be bad for them if they made the movie available for $10 to $20 on Disney Plus for people to buy, because people are gonna buy it. Even people who've seen it in theaters will buy it, so that they can even just rent it for.
I mean, there's people who've seen it in theaters who are going to go see it again, and have.
Exactly.
I have a friend who's seen the movie 4 times already within 3 days. So, let me tell you,
that's that good.
They have seen. They have seen it once for almost every villain in the movie. So they'll get there sooner or later. But as far as the movie itself, we can kind of speed run a little bit of the plot here, because we know it starts off right after Far From Home. Peter's identity. Oh no, everyone knows. And now he's like, all right, I got to get out of here. He takes his MJ, goes to his apartment, which is probably the worst first place to go to. But at the same time, he's a teenager. He's not adept Peter Parker yet.
That's a big thing about this movie. This movie really tries to harp in the fact that Peter is still a teenage boy, and he's gonna make teenage boy decisions. And we've been looking at him as oh, he's gonna make man decisions because he's done all these Avengers things, and it's no, he's still a teen.
I mean, even when he's did all the Avengers things, he's always had a team with him. Like he's never been the guy that had that shit, carry the burden outside of arguably the first movie. But even then,
Yeah, that's one of my problems with this movie is that we already had the movie that's supposed to be like Peter is still a teen and he's still growing and he needs to grow in his like superhero-dom and like mature and all this stuff. That was Homecoming. All the Avengers stuff. Yeah, he's had a team with him, but like he's also had a literal mentor to say this is how you need to like, go about your life and this is how you need to go about being a hero and stuff. In Iron Man, the man who literally was just like, "Yeah, it's me, guys. I'm the one." So yeah, whatever. He had a mentor the whole time, but like we also had a movie where it's like Peter's gonna grow and he's gonna like make better decisions and stuff because he's experienced actual like pain. This movie was just kind of like, nah, he hasn't experienced enough pain.
not enough pain, not enough pain. But ultimately, how the movie opens up is when he gets to his apartment, he's like, yeah, things are not looking good. Yeah, I don't want you guys to know that they know yet. And he's, for whatever reason, he's trying to hide it from his Aunt May, like just trying to downplay it, like this isn't really too much of a thing. But that's when Happy shows up, and Happy's like, yay, we could talk about this, right? And then Aunt May is just like, yeah, it's just a fling, And I was just like, I didn't think Aunt May was going to turn this into a hot girl summer film, but that's where we started. I was like, oh no, kind of weird, but whatever.
Aunt May was ready for Hot Girl Summer. I'll tell you that right now. It was wild. Like,
In December.
I don't know if that was a Marissa Tomei decision or if that was like just like the writers who decided this. But man, that was a hell of a side plot right there.
So obviously Happy's upset, but then that's when the feds pull up and they're like, Peter Parker, you're on the arrest for the murder of Mysterio. And then they're like, wait, what? And then obviously because MJ's there, and obviously if you know the dude, you've probably been aiding and abetting him. They all get taken into the blicky, and they're all like, hey fam, we need some intel. And obviously it's not like anyone's gonna give them up. They start having conversations, and then that's when we get to our first cameo, and I'm gonna let you talk about this scene.
All right, wait. First off, spoilers from here on out. This is the part where
I told him to click off already. I told them.
We gave them the non-spoilery, like, hey, you should watch this movie, kind of like, recommendations. Now, from here on out, we're spoiling everything. All right. So if you've been holding out thinking we're not going to give you, we're going to give you like a synopsis that has no spoilers. Nah, spoilers are coming because right now, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll tell you that they confirmed that Daredevil is in the universe. All right, this is the second Marvel property that has confirmed that characters from the Daredevil TV show are going to be in the MCU. Charlie Cox is in there as Daredevil. He does one Daredevil-ish thing. He catches a brick. Everybody's just kind of like, "What's that about?" And he's like, "I'm a really good lawyer," and that's it. Weirdly enough, the movie just kind of like rushes the whole Mysterio murder charge thing.
Yeah, we don't even see a court trial, nothing, no prosecution, nothing.
Like literally, Daredevil is just like, all right, yeah, they don't really have anything against you. The cases are dropped. You're good, Peter. You can go ahead and live your life or whatever. And then he's like, but you Happy? I mean, they're still trying to figure out what was going on with all those weapons from Stark Industries, and I'm like, he works for them. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why is this a court case? He works for them. There was no one from Stark Industries besides Happy shows up in the movie, which is weird. Like, I thought, Pepper Potts was going to show up, to talk to Peter. There's a thing in the movie where Peter uses his Iron Spider suit, and it says the network is down. And I'm like, are they trying to tell me the Stark Industries is like done? I didn't get that. But yeah, Charlie Cox is there. He's a lawyer. It's very heavily implied that he's Daredevil. So as of right now, Daredevil shows canon because Vincent D'Onofrio was also Kingpin in the MCU. So it's very interesting that they've incorporated this one show so far. We'll see what others they incorporate later, but
guys, say this opens the door for your Luke Cage, your Jessica Jones, your Iron Fist.
No,
I don't
Iron
like
Fist will
him.
not be there. Or maybe they'll recast it. What if they bring Colleen Wing and Steel Serpent into into the MCU as like the same people, and then they just recast Iron Fist? That's fine. That's fine. We don't need what's his face guy who didn't want to train for the or didn't want to do any sort of training for his martial arts character portrayal.
The laziness. Look at him.
I mean, let the stunt guys do it if you don't want to do it or whatever. But
Yeah.
like, come
Don't be
on,
selfish and lazy. That's terrible.
Iron Fist is Kung Fu guy. He's like the only other Kung Fu
So,
guy that we have in
so,
the MCU so far right now is Shang-Chi.
so are you trying to say that Iron Fist is also a one guy man?
Kind of.
That's rough.
I
That's
mean,
terrible.
technically, okay. So technically, Daredevil is also a Kung Fu guy, but people know him way more as blind Kung Fu guy. So
Yeah.
there's a distinction. But holy shit! Like if the implication is right, Daredevil is here. That means we have like at least three characters who are super important to the MCU who are back, who are a part of like the MCU now, which is Daredevil, Stick, and Kingpin. Maybe Elektra, because I don't know. She might be dead. She might not be dead. Who Defenders is weird.
You can
So
play around with it if you want to.
yeah, all that happens. They ask Happy about the Stark weapons, and that's a weird setup. But Peter like looks in like they move to Happy's place because they need a secure place away from like people who know the Spider-Man is Peter is Spider-Man because they're just kind of letting this rock and like nobody's protecting Peter. It's very strange that they're reacting this way because the Hawkeye TV show is out. Everybody knows that Clint is Hawkeye. They treat him the complete opposite way. It is very very strange that they're like people are in the streets like, hey man, thanks for saving us in New York that one time. Hey man, it's Christmas. Clint, oh my god, you don't have to pay for food. You saved the world. Instead with Peter like, get his ass out of here. Look at him. He killed a man. He killed an evil man. He killed that Mysterio guy. And it was like, wait,
Well,
what?
to be fair, the general populace doesn't know he's evil, which is weird because it's like in that earlier scene where they were in lockup, a specific officer was like, basically he knew who Nick Fury was. And I was like, if you know who Nick Fury is,
Yeah.
then I know you know what Shield is, and if you know what Shield is, I know you have the intel that Shield agents have about Mysterio before Far From Home even ended.
Exactly. So Peter brings up Nick Fury, like a teenager would, like, hey, ask Nick Fury, even though he's talking to the FBI. So I'm thinking they're gonna be like, who is that guy? Like he's not part of our jurisdiction, some kind of nonsense like that. And dude was just like, nah, man, Nick Fury's been off planet for like, for months now. And I'm like, so you know him. You obviously have like access to his information, but you don't think that Peter has saved the world from Mysterio, who clearly is on file as villain who has betrayed Shield. um, Hello.
And then it's just like, all right, well, how many scrolls are on this planet then?
Also, yeah, the scroll should have
Because
taken care of that. Also,
I mean, unless they're setting up for secret invasion, but I feel like we've been saying that for a very long time, and we've seen very little come from it. But
I think Secret Invasion is going to be different because the scrolls are like good people, just straight up good people here, and the Kree are the bad, are like just unequivocally the bad guys. And so it might just be that the Kree will invade and not the scroll because you had what's his face's character, the dude from Captain Marvel, who just straight up looks like a regular man. So the Kree will probably show up looking like regular humans instead of the scroll because the scroll are helping Shield. Sam Jackson Scroll should have actually said something the moment all this popped off because should have still been on world because his whole job was to make it so that nobody knows that Nick Fury is out in space creating Sword. So, okay. Also, WandaVision included Sword, and Sword was on Earth. And I'm like, do we just not know anything that you're supposed to be setting up here? So I don't know. That whole scene was weird. The interrogation was weird. Peter being there was weird. But it's fine if they're using it just to shoehorn the Daredevil cameo because there are situations where Daredevil like represents Peter in like court cases. So whatever, that's fine. Um, they move to Happy's place and Peter finds a crate that says Stark Industries on it, and he's like, "Oh, Happy," and it makes it sound like Happy is like smuggling, Stark tech, like actual like Stark weapons, kind of like what Vulture was doing in Homecoming. But you find out later that that was a red herring. It wasn't like Happy doing anything bad. It was something that shouldn't have been in Happy's apartment. It should have been on the airship that it was in Far From Home.
I mean, to be fairly honest with you, I just feel like at this point, like, well, okay, we'll get there. We'll get to it. We'll talk about it when we get there. Big MacGuffin, though, folks. MacGuffin warning.
So we don't have to do all this like scene by scene, but what is it? What happens after Peter is fine? He goes to school. Him and MJ, they have like the relationship talks and whatnot. It's like, hey, yeah, they love each other. Whatever. They go to school. Everybody at the school is kind of like being weird and like filming him and stuff. The teachers are being weird, and they have like a moment where like Hannibal Buress is, as the coach is just kind of like,
you're a murderer.
Mysterio was
We know you
right.
did it. Mysterio was right.
Mysterio was right became like the new thing instead of like Thanos is right. Some people believe that Mysterio was innocent and just got randomly murdered by Spider-Man, who is known to not murder random people. So okay. We move past that. He's in school. He's like, oh man, this shit sucks. Whatever, right? He tries to apply. He applies for college. College applications, yada yada. Him and all his friends don't get accepted because MIT is mad. They're like, we don't want that kind of drama in our school, basically.
To be fair, if I was a dean of administration, I'm not gonna have is at any moment some octopus dude could just break down like just break in at 4 p.m. talking about Mr. Parker, and I lose 12 students. Come on now, that's a flight risk.
This is one of those things where it's like if Iron Man was still in the MCU, it would have been solved in 2 seconds with like a phone call of like, guys, I'm Iron Man and you still support me. You have me show up to the school and give talks. It'll be fine, especially considering this kid made his own web cartridges. Like he can clearly teach you guys some things, that kind of stuff. But instead they're just kind of like, man, it sucks. Peter and his friends can't go to college because they're just kind of like, we don't really want to mess with all that. This is all some weird drama that's going on.
And your friends could be your accomplices. We don't want to mess. And ultimately, like, the thing about it is, like, they were trying to set up the whole thing where Peter would obviously feel guilty about the fact that, his girlfriend MJ and his best friend Ned would basically, their quality of life was going to diminish just because basically guilty by association with him. He's like, that's not fair. So he was like, well, there's only one way I can think of to fix this with my juvenile mind. And that's when he goes to Doctor Strange. And he gets there, he pulls up to the crib, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about every single gag that happens. But essentially the long and short of it is he's like, hey man, could you make everyone forget that I'm Peter Parker? And then instead of like, asking questions like, anybody would at this point, he just says, all right, I'll go ahead and do it. But he doesn't like ask for specifics. He doesn't even once say, hey man, are you sure you want to do that? 2, I'm not going to remember you 2, right? 3, you didn't go down the checklist. He said, all right, let's get started. He starts doing the spell, and he's like, all right, it was nice knowing you, Peter Parker. And then Peter's like, wait, what? No, wait, what do you mean? Nice. No, I don't want you to forget me. And then Strange is like, all right, that's fine. We'll change the spell here. And he's like, all right, we can't make changes. Like, too many changes, it gets volatile, and it's not going to be good. It's going to be bad news bears. Trust me on that. All right, let's go. But he says, yeah, but what about MJ? Can she know? And he said, I'm sorry, what? MJ, can she know? He's like, all right, fine. MJ. And he's like, all right, we're good. No more changes. But Aunt May, I can't break it to her again. So then Aunt May gets added, and then Ned gets added, and then Happy gets added, and then it explodes, and then that's when it has to be contained. And ultimately, since the spell was everyone who knows Peter Parker's secret identity was involved with the spell, because it shattered, it obviously started pulling everybody who was involved with that towards their universe, even if it meant outside other multiverses. So at this juncture, you now have the problem. Oh, go on.
I have a question about this because, like, the odd thing is, Strange makes it seem like, okay, the multiverse. No one has really like explored this. No one like we didn't even know this was actually a real thing. The reason why all of this is happening, Strange somehow knows that the spell is pulling in everyone throughout the multiverse who knows who Spider-Man is prior to the moment that Mysterio reveals it to everyone. All of those people are getting pulled into this universe, which is supposed to be the 616 universe. All those people are getting pulled in because of this spell. But he's also like, I didn't even know multiverses like was truly real, and then he's like, oh, but I had to contain the spell because all of the multiversal complications would have ruined our universe and all that kind of stuff. How how did he never mess with this like ever? Two, how did he know it was like specifically multiverse? Three, why does he have a spell that could reach into other universes and says, this is a very simple spell. I use this all the time. And didn't think, oh, something like this could happen. Like, I get that that's supposed to be like the central conflict of the movie. You don't have a movie if he's like thinking logically like that, but like it's
exactly
weird.
That's what I was saying. I was just like, this is the vehicle. When I said I didn't like the vehicle, I don't like how we got there, but getting there was worth writing in the junk jalopy. But it was just a really weird scene. Because
even
the scene
weirder, Wong is Sorcerer Supreme on technicalities. So Wong also should have like, at least that amount of knowledge. There are two like apprentices who are just like in the sanctum, just sweeping up some snow, and we don't even get their names. We don't know who they are. They're just people who are just there, and it's like, are they the only other wizards that exist after Endgame when you had the like legion of wizards, or is this just like supposed to be some kind of like cameo that we're all just not picking up?
Hey man, it could be. It could be. But speaking of which, after this whole thing happens, Strange is like, yeah, this is gonna be weird. But you did all this, and it's like, so you sure you exhausted all options? And he's like, well, no, you're the first thing that I came to do. And I was like, wait, this is the first thing you came to do? And I was like, this is a conversation you should have had before you brought out the magic, but whatever. Once again, you don't have a movie if this doesn't go the way that it went. And then it gets to a point to where Parker just kind of leaves because he gets thrown out. Because Strange's like, wait, you didn't even call the school to see if they could renegotiate with you? And he's like, Peter was like, wait, you can do that? And then Strange just threw him out. I was like, all right, whatever. Shaky, but all right, whatever.
I mean, as a teenager, of course, Peter wouldn't like think of that immediately or know that he could do that. But it was like, it's like, why didn't Strange have a spell that could just be like, oh, well, then let me at least teleport you there, or like, do something to revert this. And then at first, it didn't even seem like the spell worked. Peter walks outside and he's just kind of walking. And he's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna talk to the the person at MIT about this and convince them to let us in. But I'm like, if the spell worked, wouldn't they just already not like know all this stuff about Peter and then immediately be like, oh, sorry about that? We'll actually give you a chance because there was a mix up on our end. Something like that. I thought something like that was going to happen. And then they were just like, no, everything that has happened up until this point has still happened. It's just that maybe some people don't remember that Peter is Spider-Man.
So you would think that. You would think that. Because like, all right, so after that happens, obviously people are getting pulled towards the dimension now because the spell happened.
We have visitors.
So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and go talk to the was she the dean?
She wasn't the dean, but she was like some kind of like ambassador or something like that.
Yeah, for MIT. So they went to go talk to her, and she was like, Peter Parker. And then she's like, yeah, you said I didn't get into school, and then I wanted help for my friends, and I thought it was weird because I was like, wait, isn't she not supposed to know who you are?
That's what I'm saying. So,
Like,
long story short, they get attacked. Peter shows like swings over there in his Spider-Man outfit, in the nano suit, and he just like takes it off in front of all these people. So I'm like, Peter, even if the spell worked, you just fucked it up. you know? And he talks to this woman, and as he's talking to her about this situation, they get attacked. He gets attacked by Doc Ock, which is the scene from the trailer where he comes through and you see Alfred Molina, and you're like, yeah,
it's the
time.
boy.
But he fights him. They go through a scuffle. One thing to note in this whole like interaction is that the part in the trailer where they show that Alfred Molina is like absorbing the nanotech. One, how? Whatever. Two, after he absorbs the nanotech, they do a cool thing where it's like, because he absorbed it, the nanotech can control the arms because Peter can control the overall nanotech itself. So he controls it, he subdues Doc Ock, and then he saves the woman from the from MIT.
Mm-hmm.
And then she basically says, "Oh my God, you saved my life! You're a hero. I'm going to talk to them. Don't worry," because she was like on her way to catch a flight. That's the whole reason why Peter is out in the middle of the street in the first place. And so she's like, "I'm gonna get on my flight. I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna like tell them that they need to reconsider, and I'm gonna give you and your friends a second chance." Cool. She walks out of the frame, and a Green Goblin bomb shows up and bombs the area, and Peter is about to get hit by this bomb, and Doctor Strange saves him. And I'm like, did that lady get blown up? Because she
It's like,
brought over.
Yeah, because I was like, she didn't get brought over. She was just like kind of chilling. Because I believe, because she wasn't still hanging in the car because Doc Ock made Doc Ock pick up her car and put it down, and then she got out of the car. But then the bomb showed up, and I was like, she was never seen again, bro.
Yeah. She like walked away, and she's out of the frame, but she's not like away from the area, and the bomb shows up. And so I'm like, she probably would have got caught in that explosion. But whatever. It's just assumed that she somehow, like, I don't know, got in another car or something, like caught an Uber and got to the airport.
Now with that traffic, the bridge was out. Doc Ock took care of took care of the front of the bridge. Goblin was like, "I'll take care of the rest." But anyways, Doc Ock gets captured and gets taken into custody into the Den of Wizards, aka your boy Doctor Strange's basement. And they basically put him in what I'm going to call a Pokeball. Like, they basically put that man in a refrigerator. It's basically a glass jail cell that basically has magic constructs around it that obviously no one can get out of except for Doctor Strange or someone who's a high tier majestic being.
Yep.
And at that point, he's like, "Hey man, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this." And then he arms Spider-Man with a web slingshot teleporter where if he hits someone with his webs, they will be teleported to one of the jail cells. Basically, he's supposed to go on a Pokemon adventure and round up all the multiverse foreigners that they have as invaders right now.
Yeah.
And that's basically the concept. And he's like, "All right, you go deal with it. I have things I have to tie up on my end that I will not disclose. So yeah, we'll do that." And then he pulls out the first MacGuffin of the movie, which is the cube. Basically says, when we push this button, it's going to send all these guys back. But I need all the guys here present, so we can't push it until we catch them all.
That becomes confusing later. And I know that you're probably gonna like bring up why, but like that you've actually reminded me that this was like a weird scene because he's like, we got to
because
capture all of them. Like
that's the only way I could send them back with the button. But I'm like, but they're not in those jail cells when you.
exactly, and the credit scene, that the mid credit scene shows that you didn't need to do that anyways. Oh, also, to all the people who watched Venom and watched the after credit scene in that, this is what happened in that credit scene and why Venom is in that scene. Basically, like the spell somehow pulled Venom into all of this, which sure, why not? I don't care. Explain it away how you want to explain it away. Um so that's why Venom like randomly appears in this universe and sees Peter on TV. Uh but what happens in the credit scene here, which is like the aftermath of that, is like we didn't need to capture anybody. um
It's like you could have just sent them back, but it is what it is.
See,
And then
I
at that,
thought Strange wanted to capture them to like prevent them from causing like damage because he said he sees the lizard man and he's like, I found this guy, and so I
Mhm.
caught him and I put him in here off screen.
Yeah, man, they weren't going to show you that budget. They weren't going to show you a crocodile going through glass mirrors in the mirror zone. That wasn't going to happen. Man, that has to be like a terrible, like the first time you fight Doctor Strange and you don't know what he does. You just see this blanket about to attack you, and then you fold the blanket. The next thing you know, you're on a train that's going into the Starlight Zone, and the next thing you know, you're in a room. You're just in a room, and then glass shatters, and then you're in the middle of a Grand Canyon fighting a rock monster. That's not even a monster. It's just a bunch of stones he's throwing at you, and then you wake up, and now you're in jail. Like that sound like a fun time at
Honestly,
all.
yeah. I'm glad that they did something that like combated the fact that Doctor Strange could just fix everything in like 2 seconds because he was like way more powerful than everyone else who was in this movie. And they solve that in a very clever way, which I think first for some reason Peter is like, I need my friends to help capture um all of the rest of these guys, and I'm like, Peter, you don't. I mean, at most Ned, but what is MJ doing here? And so he gets them
Emotional
there.
support.
Emotional support. You could just FaceTime her, but like because
I
that's
mean, they did that earlier in the movie.
exactly like that's basically like what he was doing in the scene. Anyways, he gets his friends. They show up. Strange gives them like a room where they can like set up everything. They Ned sets up his laptop and whatnot. Connects it to Peter's suit. Peter is wearing his original suit, or his Far From Home suit, like inside out, which is black suit. Which fuck them for that, by the way, because everybody sees the black suit in the trailers and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like whatever. And we don't get that. We don't get Topher Grace. We don't get any of that stuff, right? Which is weird because Topher Grace should have been one of the villains that was here, but whatever, right? The budget couldn't handle it. Topher Grace probably didn't want to be a part of this. Whatever. Um, they he's wearing a suit inside out because he has a stain that he can't get out, which is whatever. He goes out. He finds Electro and Sandman. Electro is literally like using the power lines to like reconstruct himself, and I guess because this universe has a different like power structure than his universe, he becomes Jamie Foxx, which is like fine, I'll believe it.
Because he acts different, he talks different. Like he doesn't have messed up teeth. He's just like, nah, I like this universe.
And Lizard actually points that out at some point. And it's just like, last time I saw you, you had messed up teeth and you had glasses, and like oh,
A
like
terrible
what's
comb
going on
over.
now? Yeah, he's like, what's going on now? And he's just like, I got upgraded. I really like this place.
I want some more of that energy.
Yeah. And also the funny thing is, Sandman shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey, Peter, how's it going?" Sandman is nice to Peter, which is like that means the Sandman. This is the Sandman who like went through all of his like growth at the end of Spider-Man 3.
And
But
I was just like, if he went through all this growth, that means he knows that if he gets sent back, he's not going to die.
yeah,
So I'm not really sure what he's afraid of here.
it didn't make sense to me. And on top of that, everybody else did not experience their growth. Because Doc Ock should have.
No, because remember they said because Doc Ock was like, "Where's my machine?"
That's what was
so that
confusing.
means it's at the beginning of their fight before that happens.
It like it was supposed to be so the thing that he says, because at a point in time, all these villains explain like what they were doing right before they got transported. He was fighting Peter. He was like literally about to kill Peter. It was towards the end of the movie where he's about to kill Peter, and then okay, never mind. It was
But
like,
yeah,
it was right before Peter was
it
like,
was right
"Doc,
before
it's
it
me!"
happened yet.
Okay, so like his growth didn't happen yet. But
I mean,
like,
it wouldn't matter if Doc was if he said it's me, because remember he knows it's Peter. Because when he takes Tom Holland's mask off, he goes, "You're not Peter."
My Peter. Yeah. But like in the movie, that scene was weird because it's like, he's like, "Oh, Doc, it's me. Please, stop, whatever." And it's like he already knows you're you
because he kidnapped Aunt May.
Yeah, and like they for some reason have a talk, and he talks him down and is like, "The science, please," and then Doc Ock is like, "Oh, that's right, that was my true mission." And then he like tells the arms, just like, "Shut the fuck up," whatever. and then he drowns himself. So, like it's very, very like strange. But Doc Ock is like right before his heel turn, or his reverse heel turn,
The face turn.
right? And Jamie Foxx is he's not even Electro anymore. He's just Jamie Foxx, and like his whole goal is like, I just want more power. And I'm like, was Electro even like that in Amazing Spider-Man 2? Like that was really strange. But whatever.
I mean, I'd rather him be just a power hungry dude than a dude who's like, Spider-Man didn't love me.
But they also explain the Tims. He basically steals a construction worker's outfit because he showed up like and he was naked. So whatever, he takes the guy's outfit, and that's where the Tims come from, and that's all that matters. Sandman is like, "Hey, what's up, Peter? How's it going?" And he's like, "I'm not your Peter." He's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Hey, can you help me like get that like electric guy?" They capture Electro, and he uses the gauntlet to transport him. And then Sandman's like, "Hey, yo, what a second here. What are you doing? Like, what is
because
this?"
Because the Sandman, it literally looks like he just murdered that man.
Yeah,
he let that man get some clothes like it was his last meal, and then shot him with something, and he disappeared, and there was nothing but smoke. And Sandman was like, "Hey man, you ain't about to do that to me. No way." And then he does it to him.
which is very strange because the first time Peter shoots at Electro, the beam like goes through him, and it was like, wait, then he lets his guard down, and now it doesn't work, and now it works.
No, because remember he's in his base form. He's human. He's able to be touched.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was still in his like kind of like Electro.
Yeah, he was in his plasma form. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why I went through him the first time.
I don't remember what happens after he captures everybody. I think
no, he captures them, and then he goes back, and he's like, "Hey guys, look, I don't want to keep you guys here, but like there's this box," and like yeah, and that's when they have the conversation of, because Strange walks in and he says, "No, we should send them back." And like, "Yeah, but we can't send them back. I could fix them." And Strange's like, "That is a stupid idea. They're supposed to die to Spider-Man."
That didn't happen yet. Because you still have to have the scene where he talks about Green Goblin and needs to find Green Goblin, and then May calls him, and he goes through Feast. He finds Green Goblin, who's like a homeless man.
She said, "I found one of those guys you're looking for."
I'm like, okay. And that suspicion gets like squashed immediately because Green Goblin tells the whole thing. He's like, "Yeah, I was in my own universe and I came here. I know this is not my home, but like I don't want to go back to being the Green Goblin anymore." That kind of shit.
But here's what I
Right?
want to know, right? Here's what I want to know. Okay.
Okay.
So, are there two universes that are they two different universes that are like very similar but not quite the same? That Goblin and Ock got pulled from? Because Doc Ock makes it very clear. No, you're dead. You haven't done anything. You died, sir. Or did
No,
it just pull people from different timelines from their same universe?
it's different timelines from the same universe, I think. Because Toby, okay,
Because
so
Toby's
Tobyverse,
living in modern day.
right? So like Tobyverse is first off, okay, let's just go ahead and like get this spoiler out of the way before we get to that in the timeline. Yes, the rumors are true. The boys are back. The other Spider-Men are there, and they show the passage of time as if like whatever their last movie was till now is like the actual timeline that's gone by. So Toby is like much older, and they acknowledge that Toby's older. Garfield is supposed to be older, but they acknowledge that he's older and he's done things afterwards. So Toby knows both of them, and Toby talks to both of them as if they're from his universe, and they know him in the same way. So unless this like mirrorverse that you're talking about also has Toby there, like looking exactly the same, I think it's just different timelines of the same universe. Which
Because if it's different timelines, I can only imagine what those Tobys are thinking, or those Andrews are thinking. It's like, Doc Ock almost choked me out, and then I just fell to the floor, and now there's a reactor that's about to go off, and he's not here.
exactly like that, it's very strange. It's like those universes got paused for this event to happen because technically, in the grand scheme of things, it's as if this happened like for like 2 seconds. When it comes to those
Mm-hmm.
universes.
But I have one more question before you get into explaining this. Because the Loki series exists,
Yeah.
and we know how they feel about variants, like how this has. Do they go back and just get arrested? Like,
So the Loki series like made sure that the was it TVA, I think it was what it was called. They focused on specific like variant events that were not supposed to happen. So that would mean that everything that's happening here is supposed to happen. So even like they made it known that even like the Thanos stuff, all that stuff was supposed to happen. And so this event in and of itself is also supposed to happen because at the end it's all about Kang's actual like thought process on the overall perfect time stream or whatever. Like all of this stuff is technically supposed to happen. None of it is actually like not supposed to happen. He just wanted to prevent as many like chaotic events as possible, and this wasn't considered to be like a super chaotic event because it fixes itself.
they pull out the Gorilla Glue and say, "Nah, you go back here, buddy."
Yeah.
But ultimately, we get to a point to where they go to the homeless shelter. They find William Dafoe. William Dafoe is at his most William Dafoe, and then they take him into the super jail lockup because Doctor Strange pulls up and he's just like, "Is this the last one?" And then he's like, "Yeah, but he's not really a villain. Like, he's just a disheveled." And then Doctor Strange shoots him with the teleportation beam. He's like, "All right, time to send him back."
And that's what like before that happened, Aunt May tells Peter like, "Oh, hey, you should like help these people or whatever." And he's like, "It's not my responsibility. What are you talking about?" And she's like, "What?" Giving him the like mom speech of like, you have this power, like, you should help people regardless. It's always your responsibility, that kind of thing. And then Peter tries to tell Doctor Strange, like, "Yeah, we should help these people because I could totally help them, like all of them." And this is where the movie goes in a way where I'm like confused because I'm like, okay, if Peter fixes them or like changes them or whatever, and they go back to their timeline, then that timeline becomes different. So Doctor Strange would never want this. He'd be like, that would fuck up the time stream. But then, like later on in the movie, he just kind of doesn't care. He's just like, he's like, oh, okay, that's cool, interesting. And I'm like, so does no one even know or care about the whole like time stream stuff here? Because everyone is like, wow, multiverse is real. I really thought it was, and then no one actually shows knowledge of like how a multiverse would work. So whatever.
They just kind of free ball it.
Yeah, they just freeball it. Honestly, at this point in the movie, it's just meant to be like a movie, an entertaining movie, entertaining experience. Don't analyze any of this stuff. Whatever happens, happens. Loki season 2 will follow all this for you guys. Something.
Yeah. So at that point, obviously, all the Spider-Man villains are like, so what does that mean for us? And then Toby's like, hey, man, not Toby. Tom Holland's like, hey, man, y'all come with me, and I can cure all of you guys, and everything can go back to normal, and then we can send you back, and then you'll be good guys. 2 thumbs up, right? And then Strange is like, I'm glad you made that decision on your own, because I'm not doing that. It's time to send them back to their deaths. And then that's when they have their little squabble. And then you see Strange versus Spider-Man. And I did think it was a kind of cool thing, because there's a part where he separates his consciousness from his body, but his spider sense still allows to keep his limp body alert. So when Doctor Strange is trying to take the box back from his limp body, the body is still dodging him.
Yeah, Peter has Ultra Instinct, and they just kind of like, they just kind of tease that a little bit. It's like, hey, if Peter, just completely disavowed all his like regular man senses, he would probably be godlike and just defeat everybody, because Strange is trying to get this box and his arm is just moving. It's just moving on its own. He's like, how is it doing that? Like you're not even conscious right now. How are you doing this?
So that's happening, and then obviously they fight in the mirror dimension, and obviously they fight to kind of a stalemate, and then Spider-Man gets the upper hand by basically stranding him in the middle of the subspace emissary Grand Canyon.
Let's put this where it should be. They finally decided that they're going to show the fact that Peter is like an actual genius by saying Peter sees, oh, this is a mirror dimension. That means this all works on geometry. Okay, so I'm gonna calculate this properly, and he makes it so that he shoots his web certain ways, and they will all come out and wrap up Strange and subdue him, so that Peter could like get the box and then leave. And Peter leaves and takes Strange's teleportation ring and just kind of like, all right, see you. And I'm like, Peter, I think you killed him. Like, who do you?
It's man need to eat.
You just kind of like left him there, and I was like, I mean, this will solve itself later, but maybe Wong will get him out or something. But like, like Peter, like that was like savagery right there. You just stole his means of leaving.
And he's like, I'll come get you later. And he just kind of leaves, whatever. And then we get to a whole part where he's supposed to, cure the villains. And
Peter just does his own dumb shit. All right, Peter just does his young boy. I'm a dumb teenager shit. I can save them all. I've got special abilities and smarts. And I'm sure they'll want that. They're all nice people. And I'm like, Peter, you just dealt with a man who sold you out on his deathbed. like clearly, some people don't want to be saved, don't need to be saved, whatever. And so we go through a whole thing of like, we reveal that the thing in Happy's apartment is actually the thing that was on the Stark spaceship or whatever, or plane in Far From Home. The thing that he used to make his new suit. And they reveal it to be some kind of like device that can like analyze something, break it down to its molecular like level, and basically like figure out how it works so that he can like figure out how to fix it. And
but I was like, I hate when any MacGuffin of this magnitude gets brought into anything, because it's like, so you're telling me cancer shouldn't exist?
Yes.
You're telling me any terminal illness shouldn't exist?
If it actually exists in the MCU, then Iron Man failed everyone. Like, because he's had the tech to make this sort of thing like go away for like ages. He's made it at least 6 times. You especially see that in the movie where all someone said was time travel is possible, buddy, and he's like, Oh yeah, and he spends one night inventing time travel, efficient time travel.
Yeah, theoretically, of course. But he's like, it can work. It's like, so you just thought it was impossible, so you never bothered, and then someone just whispered in your ear, time travel is possible. He's just like, I've solved it.
Yep. Bruce
All
Banner,
right.
the nuclear physicist, couldn't even figure it out, and Tony was just like, "All right, give me a night. All right, cool. A Friday, give me the schematics. Ah, good work,
Some of,
Friday.
some of y'all couldn't even do your 5-page term paper in a week.
That's what I'm
Man,
saying.
so time travel in a night. Man,
So Peter, he fixes all the problems of all the other movies in like the span of like 5 minutes. And I get that that's supposed to show that Peter is also super smart and whatnot, but like 5 minutes, bro. Like he literally looks at Doc Ock's like schematics for his arms, and he's like, "Oh, the problem is actually, you see, he was using a chip to control himself, so that these arms don't, the AI from the arms don't control him. The chip is actually busted. I can just make a new chip right now." And I'm like, "You
it's that
solved
easy, huh?
Spider-Man 2 in 5 minutes." That was what Toby should have done in Spider-Man 2. Because Toby saw it live. He saw this happen live and didn't think, "Oh, we got to fix that chip." He's like, "Doc, come on, man. We got to get those arms off of you." And I'm like, "What? Toby, make another chip."
So at that point, Tom makes another chip, pops it in, and all of a sudden, your boy's like, hey, feels pretty good. The voices, they've stopped. I was like, dang. I was like, was each tentacle talking to you? Like, that's tough, buddy.
Well, yeah, that was a thing in Spider-Man 2, though.
Oh, I know, but I just think it's funny. It's like, was it? I thought it was just like one voice in his head, but he said the voices, and I was like, oh.
No,
All
man,
right,
don't you
then.
remember the Sam Raimi like murder scene in that movie, where each of the arms had like they were basically like the Hydra, and they killed like a bunch
Yeah,
of
all those
doctors.
doctors. Yep. I just didn't know they were all talking individually. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that must suck. But anywho, after that, he makes a device for Electro that's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get all the electricity out of you," and I'm like, "So is that gonna like take away his powers, or is that just gonna make it so that he doesn't need electricity to like keep his body?"
Because if that's the case, then like he could just charge up again.
Yeah,
But apparently, this is also supposed to not just take away his electricity. It was supposed to make sure he couldn't turn it back on. I was like, all right, I guess. And it was like this little hockey puck like thing that he just puts on his chest. And it's just like, all right, I guess.
yeah. And
And then,
what was it? He tried to make serum for the Green Goblin, and I'm like, so the serum doesn't work. Spoiler. The serum doesn't work, and I'm like, wait, why did this not work? And everything else worked fine. And also, this man to be like, to have like an alternate personality that will do whatever possible.
I mean,
To like,
to be fair, Defoe Green Goblin was helping him develop the Green Goblin serum.
exactly.
Because remember, there was a part where he turns around and he says, it'll be just you. He's like, just me?
Yeah, at that point, I was like, all right, so the scientist is here no more. Also, oh man, brilliant guys for putting in the meme in this movie. I'm something of a scientist myself. I was like, yeah, thank you, the meme, thank you. Oh,
Yeah,
like
all the major memes that like we know about Spider-Man, I think they were all present in some capacity in this film.
besides like crying Toby Maguire or something like that, that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Harry. Everything related to Harry and his boogie board was just not there, which I was kind of like upset about that. Like they could have recasted him or just like, had him in the suit for like most of the time or something. But I wanted to see New Goblin there. I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see the what's it, snowboard just riding in the skies.
Looking like the oblong surfer.
Yep.
But yeah, so they do all that and everything's all fine and dandy for a little bit. And then the goblin's just like, I see the problem. I don't have a problem. And obviously the spider sense goes off. And yeah, your boy thwarts the first attempt of the Green Goblin of trying to give him the hands. which then
I
sets.
like this scene with the spider sense because it really cemented the thing that people were talking about with Infinity War, where like Peter's spider sense is basically anxiety. And so he's like in the room and he's just like something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And like, Aunt May is like, Peter, like what's going on? He's like, I don't know. Something dangerous is about to happen, whatever. And then he luckily predicts that it's Green Goblin, but like the scene did such a good job of showing that it's just anxiety. He's just like, "What's happening? What's going on? Something evil is about to happen."
And then, at that point, Electro goes, you know what? On second thought, yeah, this is a gift. I don't want to give up my powers. I'm evil again. And then Sandman's just like, I don't care anymore. I'm the rock monster. And I'm like, it doesn't really make sense for you to be mad.
Green Goblin is the villain of the ultimate, the actual villain of the movie, because he gives a monologue talking about how like we're gods and gods don't need to do all this stuff, and whatnot. And I'm like, yo, that's the guy from Spider-Man 1. That is the guy right there. William Dafoe acted the fuck out of this scene. And so, he gives the monologue and he talks about how like, they have these gifts and all this stuff. And like, Electro's like, yeah. And Sandman's like, sure, whatever. And Green Goblin starts bodying.
He starts giving this man Galactica Phantoms, power bombs, suplexes, bro.
He's going insane. Like I was, it wasn't until this scene that it really like dawns on you that Green Goblin also has super soldier serum inside of him. So, Peter's trying to like beat his ass and he's just kind of taking the punches like, and I'm like, oh, you lost.
If you punch a man and he laughs, it's over. Just pack it up. And I think my personal favorite thing is just like, he's like strong enough to have everything you want, but not strong enough to take it. Anyways, I'm gonna suplex you down to the bottom of this building. But we're on like the 15th floor. This man threw this man down about a good 14 stories.
Yep.
It didn't go well for him at all. Like at all.
Ease, man. It was insane. So Peter's fighting this dude, right? Aunt May. So the thing that was confusing me is that Aunt May put some pieces of the machine in a bag, and then she took the serum. And so I'm like, Aunt May is trying to do some like rogue shit. But like when she did it, it was before everything popped off. So I thought she was gonna like inject Green Goblin because she, also had like a sense that he was gonna do something crazy, and she was gonna like inject him before he could switch because she was like, oh, he's probably gonna switch to his other side. Because Aunt May was honestly like kind of goated in this movie when it came to her like senses. But instead, she like had like some like weird like it didn't look like an axe. It looked like one of those like rubber axes. So she had it in her hand. She injects Green Goblin. It doesn't do shit. Whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. And she's carrying the bag, and I'm like, what else is in there? I thought it was like weapons or something. She pulls out an axe after, Peter and Goblin are fighting through all these like floors and whatnot. She's sitting there, and he's like, May, you need to get out of here. Because Green Goblin's like monologue, and he's basically like, that's your weakness right there, whatever. Like he's like, I'm a killer, And she takes out this axe, like she's about to like body him, and I like in my brain I was like, Godspeed, Spider-Man, and and the glider is right there, and the glider misses, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Now Aunt May can leave, and we're all gonna be fine. And then like a bomb goes off, and I was like, oh, GG's.
No, it didn't miss. That thing hit her. It hit her. It hit her on the edge because it definitely knocked her down.
Yeah, like
and then and then she got back up, and I was just like, oh, well, maybe she's fine. Then she laid back down, and that's when it was GG's. No one ever beats the lay down.
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like, okay, well, the cops are here and everything, so like, she'll be fine. They'll get her to an ambulance and everything's cool. And the cops started like shooting people and so Goblin gets away. And Peter was talking to Aunt May. Aunt May seems fine for a while. Then Aunt May says the line, with great power comes great responsibility. And I was like, where is Uncle Ben? Does he exist? is there just no Uncle Ben in this universe? Is Aunt May just like a single woman who took on Peter? Like, am I missing that from other movies or something?
Was
Because
Uncle Ben just a victim of Hot Girl Summer?
okay, so yeah, so Aunt May dies, and it's really sad, and Peter doesn't have time to even like like process that before the cops start shooting at him, and I'm like, what the hell is like what is going on? You know,
It's like law enforcement,
clearly
you're pretty bad at your job.
exactly because they sent the SWAT team in there before they sent paramedics in this building that exploded. Um, what about the people
No, we ain't see
who?
no firefighters, nothing.
That's what I'm
Nobody.
saying.
It was
Like
just the tactical units.
super weird. So was it Happy shows up? Happy pulls up and like tries to block Peter because he like he sees Peter, sees May, and he knows exactly what's going on. He sheds a tear and he like pulls up like communist or Akira style, Kaneda style, and like he decides that he's gonna basically get arrested for Peter, which that didn't make sense to me either. Um, but they arrest Happy and then they just proceed to shoot Peter. And I'm like, sure. Peter leaves, and after all that happens, then on the news they start talking about how like the place got bombed, at least one person died or whatever. It shows Ned and Mary Jane or MJ, and Ned has the teleportation ring. So they have like a whole bit or whatever, but Ned basically opens a portal. He's like, oh, I just really wish I could see where Peter is right now. And he opens the portal, and then you see Spider-Man sitting out there, and I'm like, oh no, it's time. And like, he looks back and they're like, Peter, hey, yeah, Peter. He just starts waving. Yeah, I'm like, that's not. But
That
in
man's too
walks in.
tall for Tom.
Right. So he walks in and it's freaking Andrew. He takes off his mask and like they're just like Mary Jane is like MJ is like, how do we know that you're actually Spider-Man or that you're actually Peter Parker or whatever? And Ned is like, what are you doing?
He's
And
like,
so
he's like, you can't just. He's wearing the suit,
yeah, he's like he's wearing the suit, he's doing the things, he like
so that
literally
she's.
clings to the wall and she's like, no, you gotta crawl on it and whatever,
And
right?
he's like, am I a dog, bro? She threw bread at this man.
Exactly. So that bit, happens, and then they're like, "Oh, we'll try it again." Then so now we'll find Peter, and they do it again, and then in walks this man, and then I'm like, "Is that Toby?" Man was wearing regular ass clothes, bro. Like he comes in, he's like, "You also Peter Parker?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wait, are you Spider Man?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, "So why are you not wearing the suit?" And he's like, "I don't like broadcast it to people."
That's defeats the part of the whole secret identity thing.
Right. So, Toby and Andrew are there. They start talking. They start, like really processing, like, oh my god, we came from a different universe and blah blah. Blah. Toby says like he felt that their Peter was in some kind of danger and that he's hurting or whatever, and he's like, I need to get to him right now. I'm like, is there like some kind of variant like link between the Spider-Men? And they never.
Or is there a variant link that only like their spider sense, heightened sense could feel?
Yeah. And they never explain that. Whatever. They finally find Peter. Well, they don't even use the ring to find Peter, even though like that would have been it. You know, it's only those two who are there.
It's like because you got him already.
They figure out that he's on some rooftop. I don't remember the significance of the rooftop. Um,
To be honest, I thought it was the rooftop that they always go to at top of their school.
it might have been. I don't know. I would have to see it again. So
I only say that because Ned's fat butt got up there and he got up there earlier in the movie, so I don't think there's like some crazy exotic place you would need a Spider-Man to get to.
right. So at this point, you know, uh, uh, Tom Holland and the other Spider-Man all get together, and he's just sobbing. He's grieving the loss of Aunt May, and one of them is like, I think Andrew is like, I understand. And he's like, you don't tell me that you understand what I'm going through, and I'm like, teenager, whatever. And so it stops, and I almost thought they were gonna just like leave the scene and just not mention the fact that they've lost tons of people, and it was weird. Toby says, I lost my Uncle Ben." Andrew says, "I lost my girlfriend, Gwen." And I was like, "You both lost Uncle Ben?"
Okay, so what I thought he was gonna say was the Uncle Ben thing too, but at the same time I was like, I don't know, maybe the dialogue wouldn't have flown as good if they both just said, "We got our Uncle Ben's killed." Like maybe he just needed to tell something different that wasn't that. But it's like, nah, honestly, your Uncle Ben was pretty bad, bro. Like you
Yeah, the weird thing about Andrews is that his Uncle Ben like basically killed himself. This dude just randomly like walks out of a store, he sees the gun, and he's just like, "Oh no, that man robbed the place." So then he tries to like wrestle this guy for the gun
he's
in
like
like the worst
citizens
way.
arrest.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Bro, what do you think you're gonna do?" There was like, it's not like they were alone on the street too. There were people all over the place, and he just gets shot, and dude's like, "What the hell?" And then just runs away, and I'm like, "Nobody stopped him." Like, y'all are all bad. Where are the cops? Whatever.
No.
So I assume that's why Andrew Garfield just didn't mention his Uncle Ben at first. And they bond. They formulate a plan where Peter is like, "I'm trying to save them," and Toby reveals he knows how to fix Green Goblin and make the serum. Andrew reveals that he knows how to fix
The lizard.
Lizard because he's done it before, and I'm like, why didn't y'all do this in your movies?
Well, no, Andrew did it for Lizard.
Yeah, I know Andrew did it for Lizard, but I'm like, Toby, wait, you know how to reverse the serum? Harry took that serum. Like, why didn't you fix Harry? Like, he got blown up because of whatever. I guess it's because of the black suit and the symbiote. Whatever. So they, formulate their plan. They get to the final battle, place, which is the Statue of Liberty, which is funny because it has Captain America's shield there, which I think that's a reference to a different movie that I can't remember right now. So I don't know, they had this setup where they were like webbing some of the like cures in certain places and stuff, and I was like, oh, they're gonna like lead the guy there, and it's gonna be like a Home Alone style trap where it like falls and injects somebody or some shit like that. And then everything just kind of went to shit immediately. And like that's kind of good, but it was also kind of weird. So then they all regroup and they're like, "Yeah, I don't really know how to like work with other people." And Peter's like, "I do because I was on the Avengers." And I thought Toby was gonna say, "That's awesome," because like he knows the Avengers. He just never got to be on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Who are they?" Oh,
and Andrew's like, I'm with him, bro. I don't know what that is. So
it hurt.
Yeah.
So whatever, that just immediately made me think of all the things that Peter could have talked to them about, in his universe, so that they could go back to theirs and find all these people in their universe. But didn't have time. Obviously, had to advance the plot. Whatever. They team up. The fight ensues. What is it? Ned accidentally releases Doctor Strange.
Because he opens up another portal trying to get away. And yeah, Doctor Strange is just like, I'll be taking that box back. Thank you.
He's like, I was stuck in there for 12 hours. And I'm like, bro.
So if it's felt longer than 12 hours, my G.
I'm like, so you didn't figure out how to do this without the ring? Is that just how it goes? Where's Wong? At this point, he should show up.
Oh man, if it's only been 12 hours, Wong said that pretty much they had to find a reason to write Wong out of the film. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But my man had to go to like a wizard's travel summit.
Like Wong was like, oh, I have like, responsibilities. I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. And I'm like, Wong, you were in an underground fighting ring. Like, I'm pretty sure it's around the same time this happened. Like,
that for all we know, that's where he went.
You're right.
To train the Abomination or whatever they're calling them now.
No, it was Abomination.
Okay.
Also, that it's good that they brought that same like abomination in because that Hulk movie is like one of the ones that's like the weirdest when it comes to the timeline because technically it's a part of the MCU, but they literally changed the Hulk that was in it, and so there was never like a real confirmation as to like if all that stuff did happen or if they're just kind of like Hulk is here, we gave him a different backstory, and it's like, nah, it all happened. For some reason, Betty is nowhere to be seen, or Betsy, I think it was Betty or Betsy, one of those. Ross's daughter is nowhere to be seen, even now, but whatever. Um, where are we at? Strange shows up and he's like, "All right, I got the box. I actually helped everyone." That's when I get confused because Strange is like, "Oh, wow, this actually is like pretty impressive that you were able to help these people." And I'm like, "Strange, he's he's fucked up the multiverse. Like, what are you talking
Bigger
about?"
picture here, man. Bigger picture.
Oh, like he's completely changed all their timelines now. But whatever. So they go through. They have the final battle. Doc Ock shows up to help, and that's when you have this nice moment where he sees Toby and he's like, "Peter, oh my God, you've grown!
All right,
Oh my goodness!"
but can I ask you a serious
Yeah,
question?
go for it.
All right, so we saw that the Croc swam there. All right, Croc swim pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Electro flew, Goblin flew. Sandman could just travel through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Did Doc Ock catch an Uber, or did he just like slowly claw walk himself down to the old Statue of Liberty?
He clawed himself there, bro. He definitely clawed himself there because he escaped the building and he was like clawing on the building and stuff. So that man just used his claws to somehow. He probably like did like a Superman thing where he like pushed himself off the ground and like shot himself in the air a couple of times to like jump there.
I just thought it was
So
funny because they definitely showed how everyone else got there except for him.
yep.
He just was like, "I'm here now, boys,"
Mhm.
and then he takes out Electro. So Electro's just like, "Well, I'm out of the movie now." But he just got GG'd.
That was the weird thing. Like Spider-Man had nothing. None of these dudes had anything that was shock resistant, including Andrew, who dealt with electric man. Like you didn't think to put any sort of like shock resistant stuff in your suit so that you could touch him. No, because
So here's
this
my
is
personal favorite. Here's my personal favorite. What I thought was genuinely going to happen was Doc Ock's arms, when they touched him, the chip was going to get shorted again. He's going to be like, "What I just," and then he was just going to be evil again.
that would have been so hilarious. Also, Iron Man's what the arc reactors in the movie, and I think the only reason it's there is so that Doc Ock can pick it up and be like, "The power of the sun in the palm of my hand," and get like salty that that he could do this.
Well, I thought it was
So
more. I thought it was more of a positive thing because he gets to look at it and goes, "Actually, I was right. I mean,
yeah,
I
he'll
was
probably like
wrong,
go
but I was
home and
right."
make it. But like, do you think that that means the universe is gonna like have Doc Ock as Iron Man now?
Iron Doc.
Oh, but whatever.
Hey man. When or excuse me, Doc was a better Spider-Man than Spider-Man. I don't see why he couldn't be a better Iron Man than Iron Man.
Yeah, superior Iron Man.
Don't give him
I'm down for
ideas.
it. I'm
Don't give him
super down
ideas
for it.
because we're not getting paid.
You're right. You're right. If they come up with superior Iron Man, we're gonna take a clip of this and we're gonna send it to them. We're like, royalties, please.
Check, please.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks.
take you to
Thanks in
court or
advance.
something.
We spoke it into the ether for you. But
We'll do
ultimately,
the Zuckerberg thing. What is it? Intellectual property.
there you go. But in all
So
seriousness, though, I really thought that a lot of the other Spider-Men, even though they weren't from this universe, they got a lot of growth. They got a lot of closure.
I'm glad. That's all I wanted from them being there. That like they interact with each other, and they also show that the characters like grew and like learned from all of their mistakes, and like point that out. And they gave us like moments to show that they did. Like where the moment I saw in the trailer where MJ was like falling, I was like, oh, Garfield is gonna show up and catch her because Andrew was like not again. No. And that's exactly how it went. And like the thing that sucks is that, he caught her and then, he started crying because he thought of Gwen. She's like, "Are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he just didn't mention anything about Gwen. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on, bro.
Bring it home.
Gwen was actually supposed to become Spider Gwen after that movie, and instead they decided to kill her.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah,
truly rough.
So, to make this movie the most godlike movie ever, since we have variants, it would have been even better if Gwen showed up as Spider Gwen and saved her. And then he sees Gwen and is like, "What?" And then they have the moment from the comic where she's like, "My Peter in my universe died because I couldn't save him." And then he says, "Oh, my Gwen in my universe died because I couldn't save her. Let's watch each other's backs." But they would never.
Well, I mean, then you get to the weird Spider-Verse thing where you could just toggle into someone else's universe, which we're not ready. The MCU is not ready for that.
Look, man. After all this happens, Strange is trying to put the spell back together, and like the spell is like screwing up the universe. Because Goblin blows up the box, which then shows that Strange could fix the spell by himself without the box. So you're seeing cracks of the multiverse come through. You're seeing the purple cracks,
and Strange is slowly sealing them with his magic alone. And I'm like, okay, like how powerful are you? Like, what's the upper limit of Strange? Because it seems like whatever the plot needs him to be, he is. Because my man is literally repairing tears in the multiverse.
So I thought the tears were going to stay there, and then it was going to be like he says he needs to go in there to fix it, and that's his movie beginning. But instead, he fixed all of it. But he tells Peter, like, we can fix this by doing the original spell and making it so that everyone forgets who you are. And then, Strange starts, talking about how like he's like getting emotional. He's like, "I would forget who you are, Peter." And I'm like, "Hey, yo, you don't know him that well. Come on, man."
All right, so you want to know what's really weird about that? They're like, so no one's ever going to know who you are. But like the way they phrased it, they specifically made it say no one's going to know who Peter Parker is. And I'm like, no one? So like, does he have an ID? A social security number? Does he exist? Does he have a footprint at all? And the reason why I bring this up is because once they do this, there's a whole scene that we need to talk about with Goblin, but we'll save that for last. But after they fix the timeline and everyone forgets, Happy still knows who Aunt May is.
Yep.
And I'm like,
and they both say they met her through Spider-Man. And I'm like, how did you meet Spider-Man and his aunt, but not meet Peter, who is Spider-Man?
Like, it'd have been one thing if he would have just, like, if the wish was, the same as it was before, but everyone forgets. But they made it so where no one ever knew who Spider-Man was, or excuse me, not Spider-Man, never knew who Peter Parker was ever. So I was like, okay, so MJ doesn't know, Ned doesn't know, May doesn't know, Strange, and all the Avengers don't know who he is. But the problem that I had was like, okay, so if Happy knows Aunt May, why would they have any reason to know who Aunt May is?
Mm-hmm.
Because the only reason why that even got brought up is because they had an interest in Peter. Because Tony had an interest in Peter.
And Aunt May didn't know who he was, which is weird. Like, I get that the spell is like erasing him. Like it's like doing the Christmas Story thing, where it's like he doesn't exist to anybody anymore. But
well, that's the other thing. It's like, did it rewind time or did it just change events? Because it makes it look like Ned and MJ don't know each other anymore, even though when they would have gotten reverted, they were standing next to each other. So, yeah. I mean, I figured they would have had questions about that and got to know each other at least there. But it also seems like it rewrote past events. But Aunt May's still dead. So I'm like, so did y'all not go to school together? Like, I'm really confused if it rewrote the past. Because at first I thought it was just brainwashing. Like, everything has happened. They just don't remember it happening.
Yeah, because that's how the spell was explained in the first place.
But now it's just like, oh no, everything that was ever related to Peter Parker has been completely erased. And then it's like, so does that video file still exist with Mysterio? Because
Technically, yes, because but it's kind of like it got like changed so that he says Spider-Man killed him or whatever, and he doesn't say anything about Spider-Man's identity because of what is it? J.K. Fitzsimmons' character, Jonah, J. Jonah Jameson is on Daily Bugle, Alex Jones TV, basically saying like, "Oh, Spider-Man is still a menace. Spider-Man murdered that one guy." That kind of stuff.
yeah, I know, but I was just like, so it can change the past, but it doesn't change the past. That's just really weird to me.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I don't have the time stone anymore." I'm like, "Bro, you have magic. Like, what are you saying to me right now?" Like, I was so confused when he was just like, "I don't have the time stone, so I can't reverse those sort of things." And I'm like, "Strange, you're not trying." like, like, what are you saying? Have you seen the magic that you do? You mean to tell me you don't know a single time spell that doesn't involve the time stone?
And he was just like, he's like, yeah, do you remember this party walk? This is something early in the movie, but I'm just like, apparently he used this caliber of magic to get people to forget about a party that one time. So I was like, so your I sleep through this spells can mess up the multiverse to this degree? How powerful are you, Mr. Strange?
Yeah. And so okay, so you mentioned the thing about like Ned and MJ don't look like friends. At first, I thought they were gonna do some like really like dirty shit and make it
Yeah,
so
they were
that
gonna start kissing each other. Yep, that's what I
yeah.
thought when I was in the theater. I was gonna be like, don't you do him like that.
I was like, don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. And then he was gonna bow out, and be like, well, at least she's happy, whatever. Instead, he did the oh, well, you guys are safe. MJ had the cut on her head and didn't know where it came from. Didn't say where it came from. That's cool, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, you mentioned that they didn't seem like they were friends. I thought that they were still like pretty good friends and that, Ned was just like there to chill or whatever after it was confirmed that they're not dating. Um, but like what you're saying kind of makes more sense that they don't know each other. They're just like schoolmates and it's like, yeah, we got into the same
Yeah,
college.
because the reason why I say that is she goes, go whatever. I forget what was it, engineers, whatever. No, not engineers.
Yeah, engineers. I think it was engineers.
But she was like, go mascot. And then he was just like, what?
And she's like, yeah, MIT, because, we both got into MIT, and that's their mascot. And I was like, okay.
And I was
I'm
like, all
like,
right then. And then like they didn't really talk. Like he was just on his phone, just chilling. And she went and
yeah.
got him the coffee, and then like they just got of fucked off. And I was like, all right, I guess.
I thought that was only happening because Peter was too busy like flirting with her and whatnot. And I was like, you could just rekindle the romance right now, bro. Like this is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind right now. Like no matter what happens, no matter what gets erased, you two are meant for each other and you're still gonna have the same feelings, blah blah blah, whatever. And then he just kind of went like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And I was like, what the fuck? No.
So yeah, he leaves, and then but the scene that we decided to skip over because it is truly the most important scene. So as you know, Aunt May was taken from you, even after all the kind things that you've done for these people. Tom Holland Spider-Man is very angry. He's very upset. He's very disgruntled. And
he even says that he wishes he could kill Green Goblin.
He said that's all he wants to do. Now, some of y'all may have forgotten earlier when we were talking about the lectures that the two Spider-Man gave him about, being Spider-Man. But Andrew was like, yeah, at some point I stopped pulling my punches. I started getting angry and violent and taking things too far. And I don't want you to become me. And Toby was like, I know a little bit about that. Spider-Man 3. Ha ha ha. But like, I know a little bit about that. You don't want to be that guy. And then he's just like, I really don't want to hear that, man. I just want to kill him. And then later on in the movie, when they come up with all the cures, there's a part where he said, all right, now Tom says something very specific, like, let's kill him. And he's like, heal them. Like Toby corrects him, heal them. We got to heal them all, man.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, let's kick some ass. And he's like, let's heal their ass.
Yeah, heal some ass. And then he's like, heal them all. And then Tom was like, So yeah, eventually, once all the other villains are cured, Andrew and Toby are just kind of taking it easy because they're just like, oh man, we did it. And then like they hear,
Oh shit! and Tom is over here beating the shit out of Goblin over there, and to a point where it looks like Goblin like kind of changed back into his regular self into Osborn, and he's just kind of like,
yeah, because he had looks of concern. Like he was smiling at first, and he had looks of concern, and then your boy. Your boy Tom Holland turned into an Injustice character because that man picked up a whole interactable, bro. That man picked up the glider. I was like, hey, this man is going to shank this man. He's going to die to the glider again.
That was what got me. I thought he was going to say some wild shit. I thought it was going to be like Godspeed, Spider-Man, or something like that. Or like, Goblin was going to be like, oh, Godspeed, Spider-Man. Something. And then, they stop him. Andrew comes through and picks holds down the glider and stops him. And I was like, I thought Peter was gonna like stab the ground or something and be like, I'm better than this.
No. See, that's what I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna miss and do that thing that you see in like every movie. I mean, you even saw in Invincible. He was when Omni-Man was about to punch Mark and he misses on purpose. That thing. But no, Toby comes down there and grabs it and they start having like a contest of strength. I was like, that's a whole Spider-Man standing in front of Tom, and he's still going for it. Mm-hmm. He is not stopped. Then eventually they come to a little bit of a stalemate, and then the Goblin's just like, I still have my prison shank. And then he stabs right through Toby's torso. And now Toby's on the ground. Everyone's like, oh, no, dude. Is Toby a goner, dude?
And then freaking Andrew like throws the cure to Tom, and Tom cures Goblin. And then they just kind of have a conversation while Toby's just kind of on the ground. And I'm like, is nobody going to help this man? Eventually they do. And he's like, it's okay. I've been stabbed many times before. And I'm like, what? Oh, what?
It's like, I know y'all have healing factor, but like, look like he got you through the spine, buddy. Like, you sure you're just going to walk that one off?
Also, one thing to note, they do talk about the fact that 2 out of the 3 Spider-Men have web gauntlets, and one of them just produces his webs, and they ask them questions, and it's great. That's exactly what needed to happen. It's like they ask him like word, like, we don't do that. Like, how are you?
He's like, Marvel, Sony, I want my royalties. This is about 8 episodes on the podcast. I talked about this exact scene.
Yep.
And I was like, nah, that's the scene that we need. And we got it. We also got 2 Spider-Man pointing scenes. Y'all know the meme. You knew it was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ultimately, like, really good fan servicey movie. Like, honestly, there is nothing out there that tells me that this movie was not just something that they found on fanfiction.net and said, we can make a movie out of this. Because the vehicle that they used to get there through Doctor Strange was a bumpy road. It was not that, them streets were not paved. But once we got there, it was great.
I do like, them incorporating the multiverse into the MCU, because that's kind of the only thing they have left that they could do that can make things like super interesting. Since Secret Invasion, even though that's like one of my favorite like comic book arcs, it's not going to be the same at all, because certain characters are missing and the Skrulls are like nice people and stuff. And so, yeah.
Let me tell you this. There's a very interesting implication that gets made that no one's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know that the symbiote, which you see in the post-credit scene, leaves some of himself behind. But we also know that symbiotes are hive minds. We know that because in the Venom movie, Venom actually tells his boy, hey man, you'd be surprised at the things we know. Universal, multiversal knowledge even, right? And remember, the only people who get pulled here are people who knew who Peter Parker was. There is no Peter Parker in Venom 1 or Venom 2. So, what does that mean?
Venom knows who Peter Parker is.
Oh, I know. I know that's what that means. But it's like, is this a Peter Parker that we know of? Or is it trying to also tie in that Venom is also adjacent to the Venom in Tobey's universe?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Or is there another Spider-Man in the Venom movie universe that we don't have knowledge on because we haven't met them yet?
You know what would have completed this scene if
Mm.
Topher just came up to the bar. Hey guys, how's it going? And then he just puts his hand and he's like, "No, not again!" Like, so yeah, that was mid credits one. He's telling this dude what's up, and then he gets he gets kibosh. He gets sent back to his universe. So no Venom crossover for you, at least for now. Besides symbiote being there. The actual like second end credit scene, the final one, is just a trailer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of
Yeah,
Madness.
like
And
like
like
it's not a post credit scene. It's literally a unreleased at that point trailer.
and I'm confused because this movie doesn't show that Doctor Strange has like a multiversal problem he needs to solve. But the trailer shows him finding Wanda and being like, first off, I don't really care about all that shit you did in your TV show. That's whatever. I got like a real problem that I got to talk to you about. And he's like, "Oh, I need your help with the multiverse." And I'm like, "But you fixed the problem that you had with that was related to the multiverse." So I was thinking maybe it has something to do with when he was in his mirror dimension, because some of the stuff they showed kind of looked like it might be that. And then they went balls to the wall. They showed like Baron Mordo. They showed like evil Doctor Strange, kind of like the one from the What If cartoon that came out.
They
Where
show they show Shuma Gorath.
yeah, they showed Shuma Gorath. I was like, finally, goddamn. So who knows what's gonna happen in this movie? But I'm hyped. Oh, they also showed the Captain America kids. I always forget their freaking names. Um, so in Secret Empire, there are these two kids who are like proteges of Captain America at the time. Um, and both of those characters are shown in the trailer for this. I think one of them is Isaiah Washington's grandson in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. I think one of them was supposed to be him, and then the other one was this girl. I think her name is like America. I think like her actual first name is America or something. Um,
Talking about one that had the curly hair that fanned out.
yeah, both of those characters showed up in this trailer, but it was like really weird that they were there. Like, because there's not really much of a setup. The only thing it really hints at is the fact that they are actually doing Young Avengers.
And evil Doctor Strange is a thing.
Yeah, evil Doctor Strange will be a thing, but I feel like that's not gonna be like a real thing.
Yeah, I think that's a red herring. I think that's trailer magic.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are speculating that, oh, actually, no, Scarlet Witch is going to be born and she's going to flip out, and then Doctor Strange is going to have to fight Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
It's just like, kids, don't do drugs before you watch that movie, because you won't know which way is up. Because in that trailer, there was a lot of colors, there was a lot of distortion, there was a tower that would look like it was made out of an elbow. It was really weird. But I'm going to go see it because I really like the first Doctor Strange movie, so I don't see why the sequel that talks about more important things to the main timeline wouldn't, wet my whistle as well. But yeah, we're almost at the 3-hour mark, so I think it's about time we shut it down. So do you have any closing starts?
Go see the movie. The movie's great. The MCU is setting up for a good phase. We're finally going to get some good stuff. The good stuff where we can go into the like crazy territory, and I want them to keep doing that.
Because everything before this that came out during the pandemic has been a sea of mid.
Yes. People are saying that the Multiverse of Madness movie, the Doctor Strange movie, is going to uh uh be like a catalyst to the X-Men coming out, or that Eternals was, because comic book wise, it's revealed that the Eternal that they like killed in that movie, he is the catalyst for the X gene. So either Eternals or this Doctor Strange movie have like made it so that the X-Men can just like kind of be introduced, and hopefully Doctor Strange's movie will do that. And so people are hoping Magneto is going to show up. And that'd be nice. I don't have anything else besides that, man.
Go see it. That's all I really got for you. It's a great film. You guys enjoy yourselves. Have a great set of games, an even better day. And we'll see you next week. No, seriously, that's all I got. You can go. There's no post-credit scene. We're not Marvel. We damn sure aren't getting paid like them.